Are we live? Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by or being here. I really hope when I say stopping by, I don't mean like, thanks for stopping by, now go away. That's not what I mean at all. I mean, thanks for stopping by and staying. I don't know. I feel weird saying like, thanks for coming by. I don't know. I have this thing with that word, if you know what I mean. But so I have some clips from the past couple of days that I've been saving up, and then today what I was gonna do was go through them and see if there's any updates. If somebody was missing, if they were found, I was gonna just go ahead and just leave that out. But then I realized that that was valuable time that I could be live streaming. So I figured what I would do is just go ahead and play my playlist and then look up the information for any updates and just go from there. Hi, Crowned Empress. Thank you so much for being here. That's what I'll say. Thank you so much for being here. I won't say stopping by. I have a weird thing with that. Let me show today's date. It's Friday, April 23rd, everybody. You made it. We made it. It was a crazy week. We had a verdict. We had shootings to talk about, all kinds of stuff going on in the world. I kind of wanted to, put that on the back burner for a bit, about the shootings and stuff, because there's still information coming out. And every time I look, it's just a lot of rumors and things like that. And I just don't want to get too caught up with what people are saying. I know there's a lot of public outrages going on right now. And for me personally, I think it's important that we look at every case individually and without prejudice of what other things are going on. And, go by that. Hi, Nicolette. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, that feels a lot better. So let's go ahead and get started. I made 2 playlists for us today. It's going to be, I think, a semi-long live because this playlist has 15 clips. They're short, but the other one has 28 clips. So this is from the last couple of days. I'll shout out the date that it came out. We'll check for updates. We're going to be here for a bit, so get comfortable and join the discussion. So the first clip that we're going to look at is, it looks like it's based out of the Denver, Colorado area. We're going to look at the missing people first, and then we're going to go into the other updates that I found. Hi, Concealed Ringleader. Thank you so much for being here. So the first clip that we're going to look at is called Woman Who Was Last Seen March 20th. At light rail station near Greenwood Village is still missing. And this is courtesy of Denver 7, the Denver channel. We'll watch this clip and then we'll check for any updates. This actually was posted on April 21st, so that was a couple of days ago. Maybe, hopefully, she's been found since then. We'll find out here in a minute. But first, let's watch this clip.
Village woman is missing and her family is desperate to find her. The last time anyone saw Kim Lujentrango was 1 month ago in Greenwood Village.
And since then, family members filed missing persons report, asked help from the FBI. Now they're offering a reward for information.
As Denver 7 Sloan Dickey reports, the family says not hearing from Kim for this long is completely out of character.
Kim Lujentrango has been missing for a month.
Our family is just extremely worried.
Last seen here on March 20th, her family has been searching, but few answers have surfaced.
We saw no activity on, any type of social media platforms. And we knew something was not right.
Her family lives in Maryland. They last heard from her the afternoon she disappeared.
My sister was staying with a gentleman and there was a domestic disturbance. So police came to that domestic disturbance and they removed her from that location, and they dropped her off at the Bellevue rail station.
She was dropped off by police here at the Bellevue RTD station in Greenwood Village that afternoon. Cameras tracing her movements.
That was just after 2:45 p.m.
The last images of Kim were recorded here that same afternoon as she headed east on this bridge, leaving the station below. She hasn't been seen or heard from since.
When we completely lost contact, when her phone was dead and never came back on.
Kim and her family are part of the Laguna Pueblo tribe. Her family already registered her missing with the FBI. Wednesday, Greenwood Village police put out
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get her name, and I knew it was going to be something like difficult. Lertju, N as in Nancy, THANGO. ARANGOOL. Okay, I'm gonna look for updates. Go ahead and keep watching this clip.
This flyer hoping for new leads.
It's been extremely challenging just to kind of sit here and not be able to do anything actionable or have any actionable information that we can go on.
A month later, with no word, Kim's family increasing their efforts once again.
Our family is offering a $10,000 reward for any information that directly leads to her return.
Even traveling to Denver to search themselves.
Asking anybody who's in the street or looking in homeless shelters to see if there's any chance that anybody may have found her.
Now they're asking Coloradans.
Really just turning to the people of the Denver metro area and asking for your help in locating my sister.
For any information that can help bring Kim home. Sloan Dickey, Denver 7.
All right, so I went ahead and looked up to see if she's still missing, and unfortunately she still is. I wrote her name down, so I will go ahead and continue looking for updates, and if anything happens, we'll take it from there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and watch the next clip, and it is called "Missing Woman Called Police Over Ex-Husband Multiple Times, Family Says," and this is courtesy of ABC 10, and this is out of Modesto, so this is the California area. There's a clip, so just give me a minute while I skip it, and then we'll watch the video. I mean, there's an ad.
The other thing I like about StreamYard is that if there's ever a glitch.
Missing for more than a week and still no answers.
You see these things on TV and you never think it would happen to you until it does.
Yasmin Cruz says she's holding herself together as her family is desperate to find her cousin, 32-year-old Susana Torres.
We're all worried still.
The loving young mother and her 2 sons were kidnapped at gunpoint last Sunday by Javier Chavez, her estranged husband. Investigators say the boys were dropped off at his parents', but the couple have yet to be found. Chavez believed to have crossed the Mexican border. Her cousin says at the time Torres had a restraining order against Chavez and says it was one of many granted only after she was able to provide evidence of rape.
She kept calling the cops because he kept harassing her after he had already a restraining order.
According to the Center for Policy Research in the U.S., 60% of restraining orders are violated. Karina Garcia Aguilar is a crisis intervention specialist at the Women's Center in San Joaquin County. She says it falls on domestic violence survivors to prove they are in immediate danger.
So it's really unfortunate.
She says word choice in the legal system plays a huge role.
Like, we don't want to use the word choke, right? We want to use the word strangulation, right? He was strangling me.
And that's why groups like the Women's Center exists, to advocate for survivors and develop a safety plan where law enforcement hands may be tied. Garcia Aguilar said she still encourages clients to call police even if a report is not taken.
There's still a call log.
But for Cruz, she says her cousin wasn't given the protection she needed. As she pleads for the public's help for information, she urges anyone struggling with domestic violence to get help.
Don't be scared. Say something
before it's too late.
And this case is very active. If you think you've seen Susana Torres, call Stanislaus Crime Stoppers. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is...
I'll go ahead and leave that number there because I need to write down Susana Torres or Yasmin Cruz, because I wrote down Yasmin Cruz, so I don't know who they're talking about. Just give me 1 second while I look up. Modesto woman missing, and that should bring us like the first thing. Hold on 1 second. Who's this? Okay, that's somebody else. Here, let me try the names that I wrote down. It's Susana Torres, and it looks like she is still missing as of 2 days ago, and there aren't any updates, unfortunately. Let's just continue watching this clip, and then we'll move on to the next one. But I wanted to leave that number there for anybody who, knows somebody, or if this applies to you, please don't wait. I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but I mean, it's a really tough situation when, you know, sometimes you're feeling like you can't get out of a relationship because the person might get violent and you need to ask for help. And if there's nobody around, then, I mean, hopefully these national hotline numbers help. I've never called one, so I can't say how it goes with them. But if talking to somebody is the first step, then please take it, because it's not just your life, you know. Sometimes there's kids around that also get abused because of these situations, and people just really need to speak up more often than not. Let's just continue watching this clip and then we'll move on to the next one.
Always open for people to call. The number is right there on your screen. We've shared this information on abc10.com/links.
That's really sad. I really hope she's found safe. Although I think most of us know that the longer somebody is missing, just the less likely a positive outcome will happen. Okay, so this next one is called Search Continues for Missing Modesto Mother of Two. This is from the same city as this last clip that we just saw. I don't know if it's the same person, but we'll find out here in a second. After this ad.
Right now, the search continues for a Modesto mother of two abducted at gunpoint, allegedly by her estranged husband. Police believe that he fled to Mexico.
CBS 13's Marissa Perlman live in Modesto with more on the family's desperate search. Marissa.
Hi, Sarah Brown. Thank you so much for stopping by, or for being here. I'm going to stop saying stopping by. Actually, this is the same case. So let me go ahead and skip this video. We just saw about her. She's still missing, unfortunately. We'll move on to the next one. 1 second. Let me pause this. Okay, so it's man facing child neglect charge after son of missing woman found alone. And I think from what I remember seeing of this clip, he seems to be the prime suspect for the disappearance of the mom. But I think they don't have anything to like charge him with that. So what they got him with is for the child being neglected and left alone, because I think the child was under his charge at the time, but we'll find out right now. This is going to be courtesy of WPLG Local 10.
The one and only Local 10 News starts right now.
And right now at noon, new developments in a missing mom mystery. You may remember a young mother vanishing last July in Hollywood. Her child found wandering all alone in Miramar.
And now we're learning a federal complaint against the man at the center of this investigation has been dismissed. Let's go now to Local 10 News reporter Terrell Fournay.
He's live to tell us about the now single charge this suspect is now facing. Terrell.
Well, Shannon Ryan had long been considered a prime suspect in this woman's disappearing, but with this federal charge now being dismissed, it appears that the federal case against this man is falling apart. Let's show you who we are talking about. Again, his name is Shannon Ryan. He has a new booking photo here at the Broward County Jail because even though the federal case is being dismissed,
because he appeared before a judge arraigned on that.
Sorry guys, I don't know what just happened. I have a new layout here and everything just disappeared on me. Hang on, let me try to get everything back. I was trying to have my tablet here so I can make notes, and it's like getting in my way. All right, we're back. Sorry guys.
Charge just a short time ago in Broward Bond Court, but this is not as serious of a charge as he was facing, at least on the federal side. So we are still working to confirm if and when he will be released from jail. Now let's take you back to the very beginning, because you may remember this case. Layla Cabot, that is the missing mom. She initially came down to South Florida with her 2-year-old son, Camden. You may remember that white vehicle that was the subject of that big search. That vehicle was ultimately found, but there was no sign of Layla Cabot. In the meantime, her 2-year-old son, Camden, was eventually found wandering alone outside of an apartment complex in Miramar. Well, federal investigators later determined that it was Shannon Ryan According to those investigators who dropped off that 2-year-old boy at that apartment complex, he also was later found with the keys to that vehicle. And those investigators also saw surveillance of him, going in and out of that vehicle. And they also tied him to some suspicious items that were found in Layla Cabot's truck as well. They are very quick to say that he was the last person known to have seen Layla Cabot alive. In the months after, there's been a very big search in a dumpster in Broward County. Those investigators who were searching that dumpster and that landfill did not yield any evidence, according to federal investigators. But now this has turned into a state case. And again, Shannon Ryan, the prime suspect in Layla Cabot's disappearance, is now just facing a child neglect charge. We are working the very latest on this story, still gathering a lot of information, and we're going to have much more for you coming up a little bit later here on Local 10. For now.
Okay, her name was Layla Cabot, I believe. Well, I have his name. His name is Shannon Ryan. Honestly, sometimes I wish I was the kind of person that thought that I could change things. One thing I would start with is telling the news people that not only people locally to their area watches their news, the internet and YouTube especially has made it so that you can watch news from anywhere. I really wish that they would put what city they're talking about, what state they're talking about. They would put the names of the people they're talking about somewhere on the headline. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like, I know they don't expect they're not catering to like podcasters and stuff like that, but all that information like could just be right there. And instead we got to be like replaying the video a bunch of times trying to grab everybody's information. But let me just look up the suspect real quick. His name is Shannon Ryan. I want to say the woman's name was Layla Cabot. 1 second. Cabot, I think. All right, so it says feds drop kidnapping, state adds new charge in South Florida missing mom case. Let me go ahead and share that screen. Give me 1 second. Let me find the article that we're looking at, and that's going to be this one. Let's share it. All right, so it says, I just read the title, but let's see. A man arrested following the disappearance of a young mother in South Florida is no longer facing a federal kidnapping charge, but is now facing a new state charge in the case. Shannon Ryan, 39, was arrested this past August following an FBI investigation into the disappearance of 21-year-old Layla Cabot. Let me just write her down real quick. Layla Cabot. And she's the victim. Ryan, a self-described witch and chakra master. See, why don't they put this in the news report? I'm just saying, had been accused of taking Cabot's 2-year-old son, Camden, but court records released Wednesday showed the federal kidnapping charge against Ryan was dropped. Broward County Jail records showed Ryan now faces a state charge of child neglect without great bodily harm. And then here we have the update from the sheriff's office. Ryan remained behind bars on a $100,000 bond Thursday, records show, and that's him. Cabot of Atlanta was last seen on the night of July 25th, just hours before her son was found wandering alone in a shirt and diaper at a Miramar apartment complex. The mother and son had arrived in South Florida the day before she went missing. Investigators determined that she spent time in several Broward County communities, including Hollywood, Miramar, and Fort Lauderdale. Her vehicle was found July 28th in Hollywood. Court documents said Ryan told investigators he has known Cabot since around January 2019 and that she had come to Florida to sell him her pickup truck. In a 50-minute video on his Facebook page, Ryan claimed he met Cabot outside his home in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, when she showed up in the middle of the night with her then 1-year-old baby, saying her car broke down and she needed shelter. Ryan said he let them stay there for 2 months, teaching Cabot witchcraft before she moved out. I wonder if this witchcraft element is going to have anything to do with the case later on in the future. In a criminal complaint filed in Fort Lauderdale, the FBI said video evidence didn't support Ryan's claims that he saw Cavett and her son get into another person's vehicle at a racetrack gas station in Hollywood. Investigators also say he bought odor eliminator, duct tape, and extra large garbage bags around the time of her disappearance. That's not suspicious at all, right? Continuing, authorities interviewed several employees of the racetrack gas station, and one employee recognized a picture of Ryan and told law enforcement that they had seen Ryan using the racetrack dumpster, the complaint said. Another employee specifically remembers seeing children's toys and women's clothing inside the dumpster on or around July 26, the complaint said. The employee recognized a distinct pair of floral pants worn by Cavett in a picture showed to them. Investigators later removed the dumpsters from the gas station as part of the investigation. They've also searched a Pompano Beach landfill as part of the investigation. Cavett's family said they aren't giving up on her, but are angry that the kidnapping charge was dropped. I was angry. I was devastated. We all were. I think it's unfair. Cavett's sister Karina said in a Zoom call Thursday. Whether she's alive or she's not, she's out there somewhere regardless. If she's breathing or she's not, she's somewhere. And I feel like they need to put more effort into finding her. We need justice. We need rest to this case. That is really devastating to hear. That is really sad. I was hoping to, report on maybe some people being found, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of the same, where people are missing and people are looking for answers. Let me go ahead and get back to my playlist here, share the screen. Okay, and now let me go ahead and look at the chat and see who's here, because I see people saying hi to each other. Natty came in. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing good. Alicia Trigg, miss you. I hope you're doing great. From what I understand, you're doing amazing. Let's see, she says, oh, I miss you. Y'all too. I've been so busy, I barely get time to do anything anymore. Well, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. Just remember, we're here for you, and whenever you want to come by, say hi. Me, Crown Empress, we're here to chop it up with you and catch up, and I hope everybody's, doing well. We're going to continue on. Oops, actually, I picked the wrong screen to share. Sorry, guys. I'm still getting used to this. Chrome tab. We're looking at this one. Man now facing child neglect. We just saw that video. Erase it before I play it again. All right, so we got Normandy police search for missing woman. And this is out of Fox to St. Louis. Actually, these guys copyright like something me last time, but it's fine. I'll let them get me. All they wanted was monetization, and I'm not even monetized, so I'm not too sure how they're going to get their money, but we'll go ahead and play their video.
Normandy police need your help finding a missing woman who suffers from dementia. 73-year-old Marilyn Person was last seen around 5 last night. Her son tells police a family member in Arkansas recently died. He fears she may be attempting to drive to that funeral. Now, she may be driving a green 1991 Cadillac DeVille with a beige roof, Missouri license plate number RB5J2C. If you see her or this vehicle, call 911 or the Normandy Police Department.
All right, so I was typing away. I will go ahead and look for a update on the Normandy missing woman. 1 second. She has dementia and she was found safe. So here, I'll go ahead and bring up the article so you can see for yourselves that she is actually okay now. All right, that's her. And it says the Normandy Police Department has canceled an endangered silver advisory after the woman was found safe. Marilyn Person, 73, was found safe after her son said she could have been traveling to Arkansas following a family member's death. So finally, we got some good news. I'm really happy to report that. Let's go ahead and continue on back to my playlist. Hopefully I get the right one this time. It's going to be this one, share audio, share. Okay, and now let's see. They just claim the clip and get the money because they are monetized. Oh, okay. Interesting, interesting. All right, so the next clip is, wait, first let me delete this one before I get nervous and play it again. All right, so this next clip is called Update in Amish Girl Murder, and this is from WTAJ TV. Let's watch.
Months-long investigation in Lancaster area is a step closer to being solved. Authorities there have announced the recovery of human remains. This comes after a search related to the disappearance of a young Amish woman in Pennsylvania last summer. 18-year-old Linda Stoltzfus was last seen walking home from church in the Bird in Hand area when she disappeared. 35-year-old Justo Smoker of Paradise is being charged with homicide and kidnapping. The county coroner's office was called to the scene and will make a formal identification and determine the cause and manner of death.
I'll go ahead and definitely look up any updates. First, I want to grab her name so in the future I can look her up to see if, you know, this goes to court, if it's televised, or if I could find any video clips about it, news clips about it. We can go ahead and follow it. I want to try to stay as much as possible on top of these stories. And of course, her name isn't readily available. I'll just put like some keywords. Come on, these people, you got to do better on your reporting. Lancaster Amish woman found, and I won't say that word because it makes me sad. All right, so let's continue on to our playlist. And let me erase this, and we're going to continue. Pause. The next clip is called Missing Woman Found Dead, and this is NBC4 Columbus.
The Coshocton County Sheriff says the body of a missing 20-year-old woman has been found inside an abandoned house. The Sheriff's office says a search party found a body that matches the description of Brianna Ratliff. The body found yesterday in a building in northeast Coshocton. Investigators say Ratliff was last seen last week at a park in that area and was going to a gas station. Investigators have not released any other information about her disappearance or death.
Boulder City.
Okay, so I was in the middle of writing her name. Her name is Brianna Ratliff. She's 20 years old. She was also found not alive. Let's continue on. And the next clip is called, let me erase that. It's called Boulder City Police Seek Missing Woman Last Seen in Henderson. And this is courtesy of Fox 5 Las Vegas.
Police are looking for a woman who was reported missing after leaving her job in Henderson last week. Now, police say her car was spotted in California on Monday. Catherine Trigstad was reported missing after leaving her job on Wigwam Parkway in Henderson April 16th. Trigstad then went to a bank on Sunset to withdraw money, and that was the last time she was seen. Today, Boulder City Police told us her car was spotted in San Bernardino County on Monday, and police say her family says this is not typical behavior.
The family doesn't have any idea where she went. There was no plans for her to go anywhere that they were aware of. They did say that she will leave for short periods of time. However, it's unusual that she's been gone this long and hasn't contacted the family.
Anyone with any information is encouraged to contact the.
And again, they didn't have her name anywhere on the screen. And her name is Catherine Trigstad. Catherine with a K or a C? I have no idea. Trigstad spelled how? Who knows? We'll figure it out. Let's see. She's a missing woman. Here we go. It's Catherine Marie Trigstad. And yeah, it's with a K, not a C like I thought, and with a Y. And it's Mary with an I, and it's Trigstad. And it looks like they are still looking for her. She's still missing, unfortunately. Let's continue on to the next clip after I erase this one. 1 second. All right, so this is an ad. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and read the title. It's called PI Believes Missing Hollywood Woman Might Have Wanted to Leave. And this is courtesy of NBC6 South Florida.
Giving us insight into the disappearance of this Hollywood woman. That new information fueling hope that she will be found. NBC6 reporter Kim Wynn is live in Hollywood with more.
We still have a lot of hope that Noemi is out there. Karen Riker is holding on to hope that her family friend, Noemi Bolivar, will soon come back home. But she says staying positive hasn't been easy. We've been super.
I forgot to unmute myself. Sorry, guys. I'll replay it. Now, this story, I've seen some YouTube. See, just because I rewinded doesn't mean I said play. It was paused. I went back. Now stay paused. What the hell? Anyways, but I've seen this story out of Florida, and this woman's been missing for a while now. And from what I understand is that she's I think autistic. She's an adult autistic person. And she took the bus to go nature walking, and she never came back. So I'll go ahead and play this video from the beginning since I forgot to mute myself, and that way you can hear it all the way. So let's go ahead and push play.
Giving us insight into the disappearance of this Hollywood woman. That new information fueling hope that she will be found. NBC6 reporter Kim Wynn is live in Hollywood with more.
We still have a lot of hope that Noemi is out there. Karen Riker is holding on to hope that her family friend, Noemi Bolivar, will soon come back home. But she says staying positive hasn't been easy. We've been super hopeful, but as the days go on, I think that it's only natural for us to feel a sense of hopelessness and despair too. It's been more than 2 months since Bolivar, now 22, disappeared. She was last seen in February on a bus, then sent a picture to a friend before she vanished. Joe Carrillo is a private investigator assigned to the case.
I get into Noemi's head, find out why she left, if she left, and find out how to reach her to get her back.
After weeks of looking for clues, Carrillo thinks Bolivar struggled with her faith and may have wanted to get away.
Noemi had some very serious inner struggles, and the struggles had to do with her belief and the acceptance of her belief in her church.
She's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Carrillo also posted on the Bring Noemi Home Facebook page that last month she started a text conversation with 3 friends but didn't say anything, then shut off her phone. Knowing that her phone has been turned on gives me hope that she is alive. Riker says Bolivar seemed happy before she disappeared and says no matter what, she can always come home. We will welcome her with open arms, no questions asked, at any moment. Bolivar's mother sent Riker this text message before our interview, hoping her daughter is listening. She said, I want her to know that I love her, and I want to know that she is okay, and we want her home.
And the family has held at least 8 different search parties to try to find her. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. In Hollywood, Kim.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick search on her. I know her name. It's Noemi Bolivar. Let me see, just make sure she hasn't been found. No. Vigils have been held. There's an article about a private investigator, which is probably what we just saw here. So unfortunately, she has yet to be found. I hope she's safe. If she's, with somebody and see, look at this. I have 2 of the same one. Like, how did that happen? This is how I get confused. But I hope she's found, and if she's safe, I hope she could just, call her family and just let them know that she, wants to be alone right now or whatever's going on. I hope she's alive, obviously. It looks like she could be. It just sucks that a lot of people are worried about her. So let's continue on to the next clip. Takes forever to load and then takes forever for me to hit pause, but let's look at the title real quick. It's Missing Tennessee Woman Could Be in Nashville, and this is courtesy of WKRN News 2. So when I was looking at the news feed and I was picking out stories to show, I noticed that there was like people to be on the lookout for, missing people. There were Amber Alerts that were going on, and I definitely wanted to highlight those stories on my channel. But how do I say this? I was gonna make a point and I just lost my thought. What was it? Women's rights was a mistake. A missing woman equals escape marriage with a good-looking man. Are you a troll? Do you really mean that? I'm gonna give you an opportunity to let me know what you're saying there. But let's go ahead and look at the next video.
New information about an alert issued overnight for a missing Tennessee woman. Josh Breslow's at the WKRN.com alert desk with those details now.
Yeah, Nikki. So Allison Everett has been missing for nearly a month at this point. The TBI now saying she may actually be right here in the Nashville area. An alert issued for her overnight by the TBI asking for people to be on the lookout. Take a look. This is a photo of the 23-year-old last seen in Jonesboro, Tennessee back on March 29th. Her family reporting she does have several medical conditions, not going into detail though, but saying they are worried for her safety, leading the TBI to issue that alert for her. We're told that she does have a pink tattoo of her name on her right forearm. We're going to post this photo on our website, WKRN.com, but if you know where to find her, call the TBI. That number, 1-800-TBI.
Okay, her name was Allison Everett. So let me just check to see if she is still missing. Women's rights was a mistake. What happened? I'm not liking your screen name. I don't know how women's rights was a mistake. You might want to say something before I or somebody else blocks you. Looks like she's still missing, unfortunately, but I will write her name down so we can check updates. All right, let's move on to the next video. And that's going to be FBI continues search for missing Navajo woman. And that's going to be courtesy of News 4 Tucson, KVOA-TV.
The FBI is continuing to investigate the disappearance and/or death of Jamie Lynette Yazzie. She was last seen in Pinole near the Navajo Nation reservation on June 30th of 2019. Investigators say they are now offering a reward of up to $5,000 for any information leading to the arrest of those responsible. If you know anything, contact the FBI Phoenix Field Office.
Okay, that clip was from earlier today, I believe. Let me see. Oh, this is from yesterday. Let's go ahead and continue on to the next story. I'll update them after I'm done because I have a few videos here and then I want to move on to the next playlist. So the next video is called Body of Missing Lowell Woman Found in Merrimack River. This is going to be a sad ending. And this is courtesy of CBS Boston.
A body pulled from the Merrimack River has been identified. The Essex County DA says that it is 56-year-old Kimberly Kelly Oberhauser of Lowell. Her remains were found Tuesday. She had been reported missing back in January. Her SUV was pulled from the Merrimack River days after she disappeared. The investigation into what happened continues.
That's the sad ending for
Bakersfield police need your help tonight.
See, and all I did was I hit play and then I minimized or something, and then the video starts playing. Like, who gave you permission to start playing? All right, so the next clip is called BPD Looking for Missing Woman, and this is courtesy of KGET News.
I'm finding a missing 64-year-old woman. Josefina Garcia was last seen yesterday afternoon on Stockdale Highway and California Avenue near the Dollar Tree store. She was last seen wearing a black shirt, brown pants, black tennis shoes, and carrying a beige purse. If you have seen Josefina Garcia or know of her whereabouts, you are urged to contact the Bakersfield Police Department. That phone number, 327-7111.
Okay, I went ahead and did a quick search, and it looks like Josefina Garcia is still missing, unfortunately, but I will write down her name. and we will look for updates, and hopefully she's found. I was also going to make a point that I think this is where I forgot what I was going to say when that little troll came in earlier, but this is kind of what happens too when you start focusing on a certain kind of case. It just starts to look like the world's kind of closing in, and just the same thing is happening, a lot of tragedies and stuff like that. In my next playlist, there'll be some other types of videos. It's not going to be like all sad, but I really do want to make a point to feature people that we should be on the lookout for, Amber Alerts and things like that, because you never know, like maybe this will reach out to somebody that can help a situation in the long run. So we have one more video from my missing persons playlist. It's called KCSO Asks for Help Finding Woman Missing Since April 7th, and this is going to be courtesy of KGET News.
Back here at home, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help finding a woman who has been missing now for more than 2 weeks. This is a picture of 44-year-old Angie Virginia Plata. She was last seen at Walmart on Rosedale Highway and is considered at risk due to mental health concerns. She's described as being 5'3", about 250 pounds, with a tattoo on her left wrist that says Vanessa. Anyone with information on Angie Virginia Plata's whereabouts is asked to call KCSO at 861-3110.
Okay, you see how they have this? You know, they put the county, Kern County Sheriff's Office. They got the phone number right here, 861-3110. Her name, her age, where she was last seen. You know, like some other things that could help identify her. They should really just follow like this model. It would be so much more helpful for podcasters like me and Crown Empress to stay on top of things and up to date. So let me go ahead and stop this screen real quick, and I'm going to share a different screen because I have a different playlist ready to go. Let me go ahead and get this out of here and share audio. And now some of these stories are going to be, you know, sad. I have some child deaths here, and it's going to be very tragic. But not all the stories will be sad, okay? I just know that I'm not here to try to bum anybody out. I just want to inform, and if I can reach out to somebody that can help with one of these cases, I mean, it would be worth it in the long run. But the first video that we're going to look at is called Man Charged in Death of Infant, and that's going to be courtesy of KTSM 9 News.
Man is facing a capital murder charge following the death of a baby. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natasha Paloma.
I'm Daniel Moody. New tonight, we're hearing from the little boy's uncle. But first, the suspect is 24-year-old Marvin Lake, accused of killing a 1-year-old boy who he was babysitting along with 2 other children. Investigators say this happened last week at an apartment in West El Paso. The child was identified by family members as Aaron DeHart. Police say the child's mother, who works with the suspect's girlfriend, returned from work and found the baby unresponsive. The boy was taken to the hospital and had multiple injuries, including a skull fracture. Investigators say the child died from those injuries last Friday. Now, according to an arrest affidavit, Lake confessed to performing wrestling-style moves on the baby. He says that at one point, the baby slipped from his hand and struck the frame of a futon. The victim's uncle is pleading with the community to think twice about who you allow to watch your child.
I called some of my employees and warned them, because I know they were kind of in between with daycare, and warned them that don't just take your kid, just calling from work, don't show up. You can't trust nobody.
And the affidavit also states that after Lake gave his statement to investigators, he went back to the police station to ask how he could be reimbursed for the cost of his futon.
Did you hear that? According to him, he was performing wrestling style moves on the baby. Okay. So what? Like, he could have had him in a headlock. He could have given him a DDT. That's when, like, you have somebody like under your arm here, and then like you put all your weight like on top of them and they slam onto the floor. I watch a lot of wrestling. Hi, Tyrant Spain TDI. Thank you so much for being here. And according to him, while he was performing wrestling moves on the baby, he killed the baby. I don't think he has admitted to that much so far, but I'm guessing that's what happened. And in the process, his futon, which sounds probably not even anything he spent a bunch of money on, was damaged. And he actually had the nerve to go into the police station and ask for a refund for said futon. This world, I just don't know anymore. People's nerves is just amazing to me, what people think they can get away with. I don't even know anymore. We're going to continue on to the next clip.
Now, according to an arrest,
Be quiet. All right. And it is called Louisville Woman Arrested After Police Say She Killed Her 10-year-old Son. So we have another story, another tragic story to look at here. This is from April 21st. So it was a couple days ago, and it's courtesy of WHAS 11.
Now, according to an arrest citation, Caitlin Higgins admitted that she shot her 10-year-old son after trying to cut out his tongue. Police found the child dead in the trunk last night after responding to a welfare check after a caller said they saw Higgins with a gun and a boy wrapped in a blanket. Higgins has been charged with murder as well as tampering with physical evidence.
Did you hear that? She killed her son. She shot her son. I went ahead and this playlist I've been working on longer than the last one that I just showed you, so I know a little bit more about it because I did some research. But she, right here, was trying to kill her son. First, she tried to cut his tongue out, and then she ended up shooting him. And then the neighbors saw her with a blanket wrapped around something, and that's how they knew what she had done. And I had read an article, and the neighbors were saying that they knew, that they didn't know, but they felt they knew that something was going on in the house, because even her dogs outside were emaciated. I want to say they were being abused. Hi, Observing Stuff, thank you so much for being here. And then the situation happened with the child, and now the neighbors are feeling something kind of like survivor's guilt, where they're feeling like they should have done more, but they knew that she had a gun, so they themselves were afraid for their lives from her. So let's hope that she never gets out of prison. Let's hope that they put her under the dungeon. 5 million years dungeon, just throw away the key. I don't really care how she gets treated in jail, to be honest. Oh, and then for those of you that frequent Crowned Empresses lives, especially from like a couple years ago, we looked at a case about a little boy named Gabriel Fernandez. They did a Netflix documentary about him. If you don't remember, he was a little boy that was murdered by his mom and I think her boyfriend. They were calling him like gay and making him eat cat litter, dirty cat litter, by the way. They were keeping him in a box. They were beating him up. Like they did the worst to this little boy. We have an update about the woman in the situation, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So the next clip is going to be a little not as depressing as the ones that we've been watching. It's called Woman Finds Severed Finger in Driveway Next to Slashed ... And this is going to be courtesy of Inside Edition. So let's just take a look.
This woman says she woke up to a strange scene in her driveway. Not only were the tires of her vehicle slashed, but lying next to one of them was a severed finger.
Literally been laughing all day because if I don't, I think I might cry.
Francesca Wickoff is a former volunteer firefighter and EMT, so she wasn't too grossed out by the sight of a bloody appendage. She seems to have found humor in the ordeal.
You would think if you're gonna go to the hospital, especially if you just sever your finger off, that you would take said finger with you.
So what happened? According to Francesca, she got into a fight with a neighbor the day before. She believes that he cut off his finger while in the act of vandalizing her car. She says a trail of blood goes from her driveway to his house.
We assume it happened around 10:30 last night because we had our neighbor across the street that lives next door to him heard a yell and some crying around 10:30, and then he sped off shortly after.
Police are investigating the incident and no one has been arrested or charged with any crime. But whoever is responsible, it seems they're already paying a price for their actions.
I don't find doing anybody hurting themselves. However, karma has a good way of working itself out.
For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
I was gonna type it out, but I see your point, Tired Spain. I see it. I see what you're saying. We're spending too much money on these criminals just to keep them alive. They're eating, they're getting medical care, they're getting all kinds of better treatment, sometimes better than regular law-abiding citizens. Yeah, that was karma. That was instant karma. And I was gonna say, Crown, like, they didn't go to the hospital. Like, don't they, like, how do I say this? Don't the police, like, tell hospital to be, like, on the lookout for somebody that might be coming in for an injury? I mean, I don't know how much, like, police and the emergency room work together, but I would think if anybody came in with a missing finger around that time, that they would be looked at. I mean, they got blood, they got DNA there to be able to identify people with it. But I guess since it's just a slashed tire, maybe they're not too worried about it. And if somebody's willing to go without a finger, and it's funny because the freaking blood trail went to the neighbor's house, so they know, like, it's somebody that lives there. Just check who's missing a finger. But again, it's just the slashed tire, so maybe they don't care. Nobody cares. Hopefully it was worth it for them to lose a finger over some revenge. Let me go ahead and take this banner down real quick so we can continue on to the next story. It is called Birth Mother of 8-year-old Boy Allegedly Beaten to Death Searching for Answers. And this is courtesy of CBS 47 KSEE 24.
Story of an 8-year-old Fresno boy, Jay Love Smith, killed over the weekend. Police arresting his guardians, Patrick and Crystal Johnson, for the murder of the boy. It's the 26th homicide this year. Our Liv Johnson joining us live now. And Liv, you did get a chance to talk with the boy's birth mother today.
I did, and we know that Jay Love Smith's death was ruled a homicide caused by severe blunt force trauma. One of his guardians, Patrick Johnson, arrested for the murder. His wife, Crystal Johnson, was also arrested for felony child abuse, but she has since been let out on bail. Jay Love Smith's mother drove here from San Diego this morning, and she tells me that she's not leaving Fresno until everyone responsible for the death of her son is behind bars.
As a mom, I'm not going to leave these Fresno streets until I get the truth.
Kiana Smith is mourning the loss of her 8-year-old son, Jay Love, while also trying to get answers from her aunt, Crystal Johnson, who she trusted to take care of her child along with Crystal's husband.
Yes. So the guardians are actually related to the child, to the victim. So it's not that it was that they were like in child protective service custody. They actually went with the family, and even like just within the family, that child had no support or protection. And I don't know how you all feel, but personally, and I'll tell you why I feel this way, is because my mother and my biological father didn't stick around to raise me. So I'm very critical to these situations. When I look at the mom and she's saying things like, oh, I'm not leaving these Fresno streets until I get answers. Okay, don't judge me. I'm not trying to judge her. I just have questions, okay? How is her life so flexible that she can move from one city to the other city closer to her son after he's passed away? I would think if she's trying to work towards getting her family back, you know what I mean? That whenever somebody loses their children, you're going to have questions. So now she's able to just stop what she's doing, come back over here, and now pay attention to the situation. When he was alive, she was totally perfectly fine in another town. So, I mean, I don't want to make it look like I'm judging her or whatever, but I think about things like that because my parents weren't there for me. And then in my situation, I went with my family too, and I didn't get killed, but things weren't as great as I think they would be if my biological parents would have been responsible and stuck around for me. And that's why I'm very critical of things like this, because of my own personal experience. So listening to this story is just very heartbreaking, because I feel like I put up with a lot of harassment growing up, and that doesn't compare at all to what J Love had to go through in his life. And it's just really heartbreaking to hear and to see this playing out. every day there's always a story about a child being neglected and abused, and it's just heartbreaking. But we have to cover it, because if we hide these things from our community, how are they ever going to get fixed? A lot of the times it does take, shame, or being called out, putting the spotlight on somebody or something for things to start improving. And that's why I think it's important to keep featuring these stories, because the fact is these stories are never ending. They're going to continue to happen, and we have to be there to report it and let people know that if they do something like this, somebody like me or Crown Empress, we're going to snatch that story up and we're going to tell everybody all about it and how we feel and what we think about it, because not all of us want to be quiet and be afraid of being accused of being judgmental because we see something wrong in the world. But let's go ahead and continue watching this story, and let's see what else we can find out.
And Patrick Johnson, not knowing that what occurred behind closed doors would lead Crystal to be arrested for felony child abuse and Patrick to be arrested for murder.
I got to apologize to my kids because I did ask for help because I wasn't ready as a mom. I was young, but I didn't know that they was going to do this to them.
Police were called to J. Love's home in Southeast Fresno on the morning of April 17th.
See, and then I think to myself too, like one day, like I might be my real mom someday and I'm going to be very angry, but like what if she comes at me like that? Sorry guys. I told myself I wouldn't cry. I have napkins here and everything because I knew I was going to cry one of these days with one of these child stories. Sorry guys. This is really hard.
With reports that he was unresponsive. Medical personnel attempted to revive him, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. The forensic pathologist ruled his death a homicide caused by severe blunt force trauma.
Anytime you have a loss of life, it's tragic, but with an 8-year-old child, it's very sad, it's heartbreaking, and it's terrible.
Smith says her 10-year-old son and 13-year-old daughter, who lived with J. Love, Patrick, and Crystal, told Child Protective Services about prior abuse. Crystal is now out on bail, but Patrick remains behind bars, with his bail set at $1 million.
Oh, it's been going on. The truth is coming out. My daughter told CPS they've been getting abused.
J. Love's siblings are currently under the care of Child Protective Services, and CPS will be conducting their own investigation. Crystal Johnson is due in court on June 24th. Reporting.
And then on top of that, they're like, CPS is investigating, and we know all about CPS. So it's just like sometimes it feels like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like either try to get help, reach out and get help, and then sometimes you reach out and get help and then you end up worse than how you started off. It's just really heartbreaking, and it makes you feel hopeless sometimes and like helpless, like you can't make a difference. But maybe someday this world will get better. I don't see how, but sorry guys. Thanks, Crown. I told you, like I knew I was gonna cry one of these days, and it's gonna happen again. I already know. I have a box like right here of tissue because I knew it was gonna happen. Let's continue on. We have another sad story. We actually have a couple of sad stories before we get on to a mystery story. So let's get through it. We'll get there together. All right. So the next one's called. Stop, you guys! I'm gonna keep crying. All right. It's called 2-Year-Old in Critical Condition After Hit and Run, and this is courtesy of KGUN 9.
Have started to make and wear badges like this one that say "Justice for Catalina," as the family continues to search for answers as to who did this.
It was a gray pickup truck, nothing further, that hit the child who was in the stroller in the crosswalk.
2-year-old Catalina Rodriguez is fighting for her life right now as police continue to search for this vehicle, a 2011 to 2014 Ford F-150 4x4 Platinum Edition.
To hit a kid in a stroller and walk away, and how do you sleep at night? How do you close your eyes?
Alexis Villa is Catalina's aunt. She says her niece is in critical condition.
It is really hard to know, like, she's a baby, to see her on how this accident what has done to her, and to know how she looks is horrible. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's hard.
The family is now offering a $1,000 reward to anyone with information leading to an arrest. The community helped raise the money.
There's people out there that are supporting us, and it feels really good to know that the community is going to come together and help us.
The family hopes that the person responsible will come forward.
What if this was your cousin, your child, your niece? What if it was somebody you were related to? You would want that person to step forward and take responsibility for what they've done. And that's what we're asking for. Take responsibility for what you're done.
Now Saturday at 7 in the morning, family and friends of Catalina are inviting members of the community to join them here and march in support with them. Reporting in Tucson, Greg Bradbury, KGET 9, on your side.
I agree with her. But you know what? Sad story is, though, some people don't give a shit, to be honest. I'm just being real. People will do awful, horrible things. And yeah, this community has to do better. This is getting crazy. And I mean, there's only so much we can do. You know, we can't monitor people's houses. We can't, you know, make sure that everyone's acting right. Like, it's just truly unfortunate that these stories are going to continue happening. But I hope whoever did hit her and decided to run away gets discovered somehow. I hope one day they just let it slip out of their mouths and somebody's there to catch it and does the right thing and turns them in, you know, because I know that there's people out there that are like, oh, snitches, this, that, but there are some cases where it's like those rules don't apply. You know, you have to do the right thing. Otherwise, these awful, horrible crimes against humanity and nature even are going to continue to slide. And I have to do my part, and that's going to be like featuring the stories on my channel. So we got one more story to go before we get into this mystery story that I found that I wanted to show you guys. But let's look at one more serious story before we get into that. And it's called SU Student Dies After Hit and Run Near Campus. And this is courtesy of BRProud News, NBC Local 33. And then it says ... I'm not too sure what else it says.
He was definitely a gentle giant. He was big, but he was my baby.
The mother of Karan Williams is asking who hit her son and kept driving.
And he was a person that wouldn't know anybody. You know, just what kind of person does this?
Saturday, the 18-year-old Southern student was walking back to campus. He was crossing this intersection when police say he was hit by two cars and later died from his injuries.
My baby, he didn't deserve what happened to him. He didn't deserve, you know, just walking home from work, minding his own business.
People say crossing that Harding Boulevard and Scenic Highway can be dangerous.
People need to be cautious and slow down when they're coming through this intersection.
They have to pretty much dodge traffic to get back to their apartments right here on the corner.
Now, this tragedy is shining a light on an issue many have already reported.
All I asked for was a pedestrian walkway with the push buttons like they have at every intersection at LSU.
This is what is very much needed. It is so awful that it took a tragedy to bring this attention.
For this family, a piece of them is gone, and they're hoping those responsible come forward.
I can hug my baby, you know. I don't have words to describe it. It's indescribable, you know.
Well, again, I hope they find whoever. So dumb. Just because like I went out of full screen, the video starts playing. That's insane. But what I was gonna say is I hope that, you know, they find whoever did that too, because that's total bullshit. And if that intersection or whatever it is that dangerous, they could at least put like cameras or something so people could find who's running people over and running away from it. Something needs to be done there, because if people are that scared that they're playing Frogger crossing the street and there's no like cross sign or lights or anything like that warning people when to go. Hi, Manuel Briggs, thank you so much for being here. Then they need to do something, because somebody lost their life because somebody decided that they were going to drive recklessly, hit a person, take their life, and then keep on driving. All right, so let's continue on to this clip that I found about a boat that just washed ashore, and it's a little bit of a mystery. It's called Mysterious Boat Beached on Clam Pass in Naples. I think that's how you say it. And this is going to be courtesy of ABC7 SWFL, and that looks like it's Florida.
Naples Beach tonight. This boat turned up near Clam Pass today. Lots of belongings were on board, but no one on site. ABC 7's Megan Myers spent the day trying to find out where it came from.
People have been walking past this boat all day, wondering how it got to the shore, hoping that no one was on board for the rocky ride.
It's been, it's been here all day.
All day, people have been guessing.
First thing I thought was that there before?
And wondering.
Just a little confused, like where are all the people at? Where did they go?
Thinking about the possibility of people being on board at sea.
Maybe just going on a trip and obviously like plans for the future, and to maybe see that they never got to see that futures. Yeah. It's pretty sad.
Hoping maybe the boat just got loose from a marina.
It kind of looks like it was broken off of a dock.
The boat's registration is from Florida, but the boat itself isn't from the Sunshine State.
We're both from Massachusetts, and the boat is from Massachusetts.
From a city called Gloucester.
I find this boat interesting that it's from there, only because when I see this boat, we think of The Perfect Storm, and this, the movie was filmed there.
The boat didn't wash up on shore empty.
What's crazy is there seem like there's bags of people's things.
Suitcases, empty food cans, and a first aid kit, and much more.
It really looks like, what was going down here was like a life.
Workers at Clam Pass Park say there wasn't anyone on board when the boat came to shore this morning.
It's kind of grim. I'm just hoping that the people that own the boat or lived on the boat, obviously they took residency there. I'm just hoping that they're okay at this point.
We have reached out to the Naples Police Department as well as FWC. As soon as we find out any more information, we'll update you.
Okay, so I want to grab an update from that. Let me see. Mysterious boat, Clam Pass. Just because that is weird. Was there people on there? Did it overturn? Did people die? Did it just undo itself from whatever you call it, where you dock your boat? It doesn't look like they know yet what happened. I hope there isn't a missing family out there or anything like that. It just looks like it's still a mystery. So hopefully they get to the bottom of that one if it involves, people. But Daniel Briggs, you're crazy. That was crazy last night. When I found that clip, I was like, this goes to Crown Empress. She can do a lot with this crazy clip. And I was right. Last night was so much fun. I know I don't know, Crown Empress, you're still here, but I asked you if we were going to go live, and then I got distracted. Let me know so I could put the banner up to come join us later over at your channel. Let's continue on with my playlist. We got still quite a few videos to go. The next one is called Vampire Facial Spa Owner Linked to HIV Cases. Faces 24, continuing on, and this is going to be courtesy of KRQE.
Gotta cut loose,
After this ad.
The owner of a shuttered spa is now facing dozens of charges after at least 2 clients were diagnosed with HIV after receiving vampire facials at the facility back in 2018. News 13's Stephanie Chavez has the story.
24 felony counts ranging from tax evasion to illegal practice of medicine and various other public safety crimes in New Mexico.
That's how many charges Maria Ruiz is facing after being busted for running an illegal medical spa back in 2018.
That's way beyond her scope of practice as a esthetician, so that would not even be something that we would even license.
The Attorney General's office began their investigation when 2 of Ruiz's clients were diagnosed with HIV after getting vampire facials.
We knew that we had to shut this business down.
A vampire facial is a non-surgical facelift where a patient's blood is drawn, then components of the blood are injected back into the face using microneedles. Ruiz did not have the appropriate medical license required to perform these kinds of procedures.
These are procedures that should be supervised by a medical doctor.
And both her cosmetology and business licenses had long since expired. The report says Ruiz had done a good job at creating the illusion that she was properly trained in these practices, forging numerous certificates and even a fake degree from the University of Phoenix.
She deceived many women into trusting her and her facility
We asked the AG's office how something like this could possibly slip through the cracks.
But the Regulation and Licensing Department has very limited jurisdiction, so they don't have an ability to go in and inspect equipment to make sure that it's sanitized. They only can receive very cursory complaints.
Stephanie Chavez, KRQE News 13.
Yeah, so I was gonna type, but yeah, that's freaking crazy. I don't know if anybody would try it. I mean, first of all, I think they're supposed to get your own blood to do it. So if people were getting AIDS, that means she wasn't obviously like doing the proper procedures as far as like decontaminating, using new tools, whatever it is. Because like imagine like tattooing, it's not that much different. You know, you have to decontaminate, you have to switch out like the needles, you can't be reusing stuff. So who knows what kinds of things she was doing. I mean, I'm like 100% sure that everyone around here knows better than to try these like, you know, broke down back alley procedures when it comes to like cosmetic surgery and stuff like that. But look at this like headline. It says linked to HIV cases, faces 24 charges. Like, is it like case like per, like, how do I say it? A charge per person? I mean, if it's 24 people at this point, I'm thinking like there's got to be more out there, you know, and maybe they just haven't been diagnosed yet. Yeah, I shuddered too observing when I saw that. I was like, I have to tell people that this is what's going on. Now the next video is also not too heavy-hearted. It's about the volcanoes that are erupting over there in Iceland. Apparently a new volcano, I think, began to erupt recently. I want to say this clip was from yesterday. One second. It is from April 21st, so a couple days ago. I don't know, is this an ad? One second.
At GoGo Squeeze, we know life can be unpredictable, but with
Yeah, it's an ad, but it's called Scientists Race to Rare Volcanic Eruption in Iceland, and this is courtesy of Good Morning America.
Celebrating Earth Day this week and taking you to one of the most incredible places on the planet, this active volcano in Iceland. The nation is opening to tourism to people who are fully vaccinated, and that includes our Will Reed. He's there live this morning. Will, tell us what you're seeing, how it feels.
Amy, this is amazing. I'm not sure if words or images can properly convey how spectacular this is. We do have a drone to help us out. This is the Fagradalsfjall volcano. It is erupting behind me as it has been for over a month, and experts say it will keep doing so for months and years to come. That lava back there, 2,000 degrees plus Fahrenheit, and there are swirling gases with these winds. That's why I have this gas mask to stay safe. We are at a safe distance to explore this natural wonder.
It's an eruption nearly 800 years in the making and causing quite the commotion on this Icelandic peninsula.
Look there at all that lava coming out, 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the first time in 800 years that the volcano on this peninsula has erupted.
Breaking through the Earth's surface in March, additional fissures continuing to open, forming an ethereal landscape. Iceland's eruption is classified as effusive when tectonic plates pull apart, exposing glowing rivers of red lava.
The eruption is happening in just about the best place it could, because it's happening in a place that's quite far from any human habitations, and it's quite far from farms.
Helicopters circling around, tourists hiking down to the foot of the lava that keeps expanding by the day, new fissures opening. This volcano will be here for a long time.
Now scientists are racing to Iceland, not only for what it can teach us about our own planet, but for what secrets it might hold about other planets like Mars.
Iceland and Mars are very similar in that they both have volcanoes that are really similar type. And the volcanoes on Mars, we haven't seen one of those erupt. We know that they've erupted in the last couple million years to billions of years, but we've never actually seen one.
Back here on Earth, warnings to be cautious.
People need to take care. It seems to be a nice, enjoyable eruption. There is plenty of dangers in the area.
As thousands converge to bear witness to a breathtaking spectacle.
This really does look like another planet. It is so worth the trek to get here. It's not a far drive from the airport. Then you have to hike up a little bit to get here, or you can take a helicopter. You do have to be careful, though. There's lots of these gases. We have these meters that when they go off, you have to back away. You put your mask on. We actually had to do that yesterday when we were here filming, but all good right now, but we're staying vigilant.
Yeah, because, Will, I was going to say even more impressive than that pronunciation was of that volcano, which I will not attempt, is just how close you are to that eruption. But I know you're keeping safe, so just explain that for us.
Yeah, we're keeping a safe distance. We're mindful of these gases with the masks, and we're far enough away from the volcano that we're okay. We do have to be mindful of earthquakes, though. Last night, as I was going to bed, my room started shaking, and I realized, oh yeah, that's how this volcano started in the first place. So they expect that new fissures will be opening up. I'm going to have to come back and take a visit. This has been my first international trip. I am fully vaccinated. I'm following all the CDC guidelines on international travel. We're following protocols for COVID here on the ground and feeling incredibly lucky to be in such an amazing place.
Yeah, it is. It is so incredible to witness, Will. Thank you for your reporting. And we want to tell everyone Will is back in our next hour with even more from Iceland.
Okay, so let me go ahead and stop screen sharing here, and so I can look up like the cucumber eyelid treatment, so I can show you. No, that's not how you spell treatment. Come on now, treatment. There we go. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Share. It says here, let me make it bigger. It says set a timer nearby for 15 minutes or so in a reclining position. Place 1 cucumber slice over each eye and relax while the cucumber's natural acids soak into your skin. If one side of the cucumber becomes warm against your face, flip it over and enjoy the cooling sensation all over again. And that's like for like puffiness, like on your eyes. See, you just get like some cucumbers and you put them right there on your eyes, and it just makes them like it makes it how do I say it, like the whatever, if it's like swollen or like any inflammation, it'll cool it down, and it's really relaxing. And then real quick too, I also like to use Lush products. Our mall just got one. I was really excited because nothing good ever happens down here. But there's this company called Lush, and it's mainly vegan, and they're also what do you call it, like non-cruelty to animals. And I like their masks. This looks like this might be like their masks. I'm not too sure if you can see that, but like there's different kinds. I can't like minimize. I mean, I can't maximize it to look at the names, but yeah, like they look like this. Yeah, not pickles. Who said pickles? Observing. No, that has vinegar. It has to be like the natural cucumber that you get from the from the vegetable section at your store. But yeah, and then they have like this bubble gum. I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but it's a bubble gum lip scrub, and it's really tasty. And you just put it on your lips, and then you just lick it off, and you could totally like, you can't eat it. I don't recommend eating it, but if you end up getting some like in your mouth, it's okay. Like it's vegan. So this is a really cool place. I like ocean salt. So if anybody ever wants to like head over to your local Lush store, the ocean salt is really good. It's actually made with, I want to say it has like avocado in it and vodka and like, I don't know, some other stuff, and it smells really good. I was hoping it says now in a self-preserving formula, lashings of fine sea salt to scrub and clean, organic limes to brighten, and avocado butter to soften your skin. And I love it. It smells super good. So yeah, if anybody wants to try that out, I recommend it. It's really good. I like that it's vegan, and I like that it's like cruelty-free as well. So let's go ahead and go back to my playlist. Let me read what everyone's saying. Everyone's laughing. I know, that's crazy. Pickles. Try it and let me know how it goes. All right, let's continue on. The next video is called Torrance Woman Arrested in Mistaken ID Revenge Murder of NorCal Rapper. And this is courtesy of CBS Los Angeles.
Police say they took the law into their own hands and killed an innocent man. They thought he was responsible for a deadly road rage incident that shut down the 405 freeway for an entire night. But tonight, police say they were actually wrong, and now they are in jail. The road rage shooting was big news the night it happened on the 405 in Seal Beach. The freeway was closed for hours. Well, tonight, police say 2 people are under arrest after they became vigilantes and committed murder. KCAL9's Stacey Butler has our wild story.
The twisted whodunit started with a deadly car-to-car shooting on the 405 freeway in Seal Beach last August. The freeway closed for hours, traffic backed up for miles. 27-year-old Luis Rapena killed. Police say his girlfriend, Amanda Young, and Rapena's brother, Isaiah, became frustrated the investigation went on for months without an arrest. So police say they started their own amateur investigation and convinced themselves Melota Lassi, a Bay Area rapper known as Cuddy Banks, killed Rapena in an act of road rage. Police say Isaiah Rapena traveled to the Bay Area and gunned Lassi down at this bank parking lot in San Mateo. But tonight, police tell us the rapper had nothing to do with Rapena's death. Amanda Young and Isaiah Rapena are both now under arrest. Police say this is a tragic example of what can happen when people take the law into their own hands. So just who did kill Luis Rapena in Seal Beach? Police are still searching. In Costa Mesa, Stacey Butler, KCAL9 News.
Okay, so I know I was a little distracted there, but if you didn't hear, apparently they had a road rage incident, and I guess the law wasn't moving fast enough for them, so they did their quote-unquote own investigation, and somewhere along that, they decided that a NorCal rapper from the Bay Area was the one who did it, and their cops are saying that it wasn't him. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, if maybe they, checked to see where he was that day or whatever. I kind of want to know more about this, back alley investigation that these 2 did to let them think that it was that person that committed the crime against them. But if they go to court, I decided what I'm going to do is I'll just rewatch this live later and I'll write down everybody's names. I don't want to waste too much time doing that. I'll just go back later and find everybody, and I'll do something like a profile for everybody. I'm a big journaling type of person, so I'm pretty sure I can come up with some kind of template to do this. So if there are any updates, I trust that I will be on top of it and I will report to you anything that I find out. All right, so the next video we're going to look at is called Long Island Family Questioning Motive for Acid Attack That Left Woman with Burns Across Face, Arms. And this is going to be courtesy of CBS New York.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's going to be an ad. Just give me 1 second, please.
Father on Long Island are pleading with the public tonight. They want to help police find the person who viciously attacked their daughter. Somebody threw a cup of acid in her face right in their driveway. CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff spoke with the victim, and a word of caution for you. The images of the 21-year-old woman's injuries are graphic.
My whole life changed in a matter of 5 minutes.
Nafia Ikram bravely speaking out after an incomprehensible attack.
We don't realize what we have until it's gone.
What's gone is the life she knew as a Hofstra University student, burns across her face and arms. On March 17th, as she arrived home from work, walking from her car, she saw a man watching from the corner. He ran up to her and threw a cup of liquid in her face.
I started to cry and I was panicking. I was like, Dad, someone threw something in my face. And he was like, oh my God, it's acid.
Acid burns are seared into her Arlington Avenue driveway, as are burns in her eye and throat.
She was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and she's still not able to eat properly. She can't see anything. Only one eye is working.
I can just see colors, but that's it.
It's been a horrible nightmare for us.
The attack unprovoked. The unrecognizable attacker said nothing.
I want to know, what's the reason? Like, what could I have possibly done to somebody?
This is a big question because she don't have any enemy. We don't have any enemy.
We want to find the people that did this terrible, heinous crime.
Celebrity chef Padma Lakshmi and community leaders urging the public to help out law enforcement.
If you know something, say something. If you saw something, say something.
The suspect, 6'2" with a skinny build, fled in a red Nissan Altima. The Ikrams do not believe this was a hate crime, but it has them living in fear.
What happened to her? We are hoping and praying it does not happen to anyone else.
Supporters have set up a GoFundMe, appreciated but of little solace.
No amount of money in this world will replace her vision. Anybody who has a clue, be a human being and come forward.
Nassau police are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Community groups are raising money to significantly increase that amount. Of course, all calls remain confidential. In Mineola, Long
Okay, my thoughts when I found that clip were that was targeted to me. It seems to me like somebody knew her schedule more or less, that she was going to come home at a certain time. They were waiting for her, and then they attacked her. I don't feel personally that this was a random attack. It could be, in my opinion, I'm just speculating here, maybe somebody was disgruntled and they sent somebody else to attack her, so that way everyone's confused, people don't know why this would happen. I felt that way because there's a lot of rhetoric here, a lot of verbiage of we don't know, we have no idea. Even she is like, tell me why you did this. Like, you know, when something bad happens to you, what's the first thing you ask yourself? Like, why did this happen to me? I think she has to have some kind of idea, like what's going on here. But if no one's gonna say anything, again, this is one of those situations where I hope somebody gets drunk and spills the beans around in front of the right person that will report it and hopefully get this woman some justice, because she's never gonna be the same again, in my opinion, and that's how I feel about it. Let's continue looking at these stories. We still have a few more to go. The next one is called, I Want My Daughter's Killers Locked Up. Father of girl killed outside McDonald's demands justice. And I want to say that I saw an update. Sorry, I just had a moment about this. I got really excited because there is an update for this. But let's watch this first one first. It's going to be courtesy of WGN News. After this ad.
Developing tonight, Chicago police continuing their search for the gunman who killed 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams. The little girl died after being shot 6 times last weekend while in a car with her father at a McDonald's drive-thru. Her father suffered a gunshot wound and was with others tonight for a vigil to remember her.
And WGN's Gaynor Hall is on the west side tonight and joins us with more. Gaynor?
Yeah, Ray and Micah, it was an emotional vigil tonight. Her father joining with relatives calling for justice for Jaslyn.
Daddy. Last words. Daddy. A panicking daddy. I see my daughter face down in my car. I will never forget those. I want my daughter's killers locked up.
Jonte Adams was just released from the hospital yesterday.
Still have a bullet in my spine. Like my left leg temporarily probably paralyzed. I'm in a lot of pain. On top of watching my daughter take her last breath.
He's heartbroken over the loss of his daughter and angry over reports he says are assaulting his character as a father.
It seems like it's more press on me than the people who killed my baby. That's even making me hurt more.
What do we want? Peace! Relatives and friends gathered for another vigil tonight for 7-year-old Jaslyn. TikTok videos. Her family called her Pinky.
Someone needs to step up and talk. That was a 7-year-old girl who did not deserve all those bullets in her little body. It's just sad. It's very sad.
The girl and her father were in a McDonald's drive-thru Sunday in Holman Square when the shooting happened. Police have said he may have been the target.
Let's focus on the killer. Let's get my grandbaby justice. Let's get her the peace that she needs. Yep. Then we'll worry about all that other stuff. Right now, that's not the problem. No.
The problem is we got killers still running the street who killed a 7-year-old baby.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Tonight, the community gathered to pray and grieve together and support the family.
People want to judge and want to make assumptions of what it's going to take to stop the violence, but if we don't really look at the root causes of violence, we ain't even going to pick at it.
Detectives continue to investigate. So far, no one is in custody, and the family is hoping that changes soon. Reporting tonight live from the West Side.
Okay, I just want to make mention real quick. I do realize that people grieve in different ways. I just don't believe that letting balloons go is the way to do it. I don't want to sound too critical, but there's other things you could do that are safer and better for the environment. And I think people would, appreciate it in the long run. And I think nature would too, but you could like blow balloons. Blow bubbles, don't let out like animals like doves or butterflies. Like it's actually pretty bad for them. Like the turnout is not good. And if people knew that more and what that kind of thing does to the environment, maybe people would like stop. But if anything ever happens to me, God willing, don't release balloons, if it were me, I would rather clean up a park or, do something pro environment. But I know that when you're having these situations, that's probably the last thing you're thinking about. But that's just my 2 cents in if anybody wants to know about that. But there is an update in this story. I just read Grandma 5 say that poor baby, I hope they get justice, and I hope they get the assholes that did it. I think they did. So we're gonna skip ahead a little bit, and we're gonna look at this clip that I found today. It's called "Chicago Police Shoot Suspect in Jaslyn Adams Murder During I-290 Chase," and that's gonna be courtesy of ABC 7 Chicago.
Alan and Cheryl, the police superintendent, also saying tonight other people were involved, but he did not go into detail.
Well, we got shots fired by the police over here on 290 and just east of Manheim Road. Okay, everybody's okay. We got one guy hit. Bad guy hit.
Chopper 7 HD over the Eisenhower just minutes after a police chase, crash, and attempted carjacking that is thwarted by detectives conducting surveillance on a man in the western suburbs.
The suspect then crashed his vehicle on the shoulder and attempted to carjack a family's vehicle stopped in traffic. Officers confronted the suspect. Suspect was struck multiple times by the officers' weapons.
This video was recorded by a witness just moments after that shooting. A man is seen injured, sitting on the expressway before police officers escort him to an ambulance.
2 firearms were recovered from the suspect.
Tonight, Superintendent David Brown confirming the man shot by police is a suspect connected to the murder of 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams. Adams was shot and killed Sunday while sitting in a car with her father at a McDonald's drive-thru in Homan Square. Tonight, police providing few details on that investigation, but Superintendent Brown did provide a clue about what officers saw today before shooting that suspect on the expressway.
There were other people involved, but we just have the one offender now in custody.
Tonight, the man shot by police is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police saying this evening he was shot in the arm.
Hey, if you like that.
Okay, I hope that results into more arrests because it sounds like there are more people involved. So hopefully they catch them. So see, sometimes it just takes for some other thing to happen and then we get justice in the situation. So the next video clip that I wanted to show you, I'm going to get rid of that, is an update on the Gabriel Fernandez story. For anybody who isn't aware of it, he was a child from California that was severely abused by his parents. Netflix did a documentary about the situation because of how egregious and heinous the crimes were. We have an update on the female, which is the biological mom of the child. I say that loosely. So we're going to go ahead and check out this update, and then we'll talk about it after. And this is called Pearl Fernandez asks court for resentencing in son's murder. And this is courtesy of Fox 11 Los Angeles.
Well, guys, look, let's be honest here. Gabriel Fernandez's murder was one of the most horrific cases of child torture really this country has ever seen, so much so that Netflix did a really high-profile series on it. So we all remember that Gabriel's mom and her boyfriend were both convicted of his murder and his torture, but now, several years later, Pearl Fernandez, Gabriel's mom, is looking to have her murder conviction vacated, and she actually wants to be resentenced. So if we can pull up some video, we'll explain exactly what's going on here. So Pearl Fernandez has filed a petition under California Penal Code 1170.95. What she's doing is she's looking to be resentenced. Specifically, she wants to take advantage of progressive changes to state law that happened in 2019 dealing with how malice is handled. Now, what she's doing is she's arguing that she didn't physically kill Gabriel, that she didn't assist her boyfriend, Iswaro Aguirre, in killing him, and that she wasn't a major participant in the crime. Thus, what she's saying is she likely wouldn't be convicted of murder.
Thus, what she's saying is she's denying what happened and wants absolutely to not take any responsibility for it at all. And if she's going to be able to get a shorter sentencing, she will go for that. She's in her situation, what she's saying is that she was crazy and didn't know what was going on with her own son. And now she's fit to come back out into society with the rest of us.
If she had a new trial today. Now, as we previously reported, both Fernandez and Aguirre were both convicted of murder with a special circumstance of torture. Fernandez actually took a plea deal and was sentenced to life without parole back in 2018, while Aguirre is currently on death row. 8-year-old Gabriel was routinely beaten, shot with a BB gun, forced to eat cat feces, and locked in cabinets. He was found unresponsive at their Palmdale home back in May of 2013. He was declared brain dead that day and was taken off of life support 2 days later. An autopsy later showed he had a fractured skull, several broken bones, and burns all over his body. Gabriel's cousin and the prosecutor on the case tell me they are outraged that Pearl Fernandez is now hoping to get a new sentence.
My stomach was nauseous. I was angry. And I'm at work when I hear this and I get the news about it. She can change her story as many times as she wants, but the reality is she participated, she directed it. Who knows? I mean, she did what she did and she knew better. For 8 months, you're going to torture your own child.
It hurts me not only as a person and a prosecutor, but also as a father, because I know all the things Pearl did to Gabriel, and so does everybody. And the fact that she now believes or thinks she believes that she didn't do anything and that somehow none of this was her fault, and the fact that now she somehow believes that she has the right to come into court and say that her sentencing should be changed or reduced, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
And Pearl Fernandez's hearing for this petition is set for June 1st. It's going to be before Judge Lamelli, who was the exact same judge who actually handled this case before when he sentenced them. Now, Prosecutor John Hatami tells me that he is going to be there in person. He is going to fight against this, and he is going to argue that this petition be thrown out. He says he doesn't care what his boss, George Gascon, says he can or can't say in that courtroom. He's going to fight against this.
I really hope so. I remember when I found this clip. Let me go ahead and erase it before I play it again. I get confused too fast. I'm going to find a article about Pearl. So let me go ahead and stop screen sharing and share a different screen. 1 second. Because this story really gets to me. How they treated that little boy was just completely heinous and unforgivable. Here, let's look at her psycho ass. Look, this is when she was in court and she had on all this crazy makeup. And here's her in her slutty days. I'm going to talk as much shit about her as I want. There's very rare people that I feel comfortable saying this kind of thing about, but she can get it. All right, so let's go ahead and look for the article that I was looking at before. 1 second. Was it this one? If I can't find it, I'll just tell you what I heard. So apparently people in the jail where she was at didn't know who she was or what she did. When they would ask her why she was there, she said that it was something else, like something not as serious. And then one day, the guards or whatever were moving her from one cell to another, and when they threw her in there, they said something like, "You're really comfortable for being here for killing your son," or something like that. And then that's when the other inmates realized who she was and what she did, and apparently they kicked her ass in jail. If I find the article, I'll post it some kind of way. Give me 1 second. I think I might have actually saved it somewhere. Just 1 second. Sorry, guys. I should have been more prepared, but I just decided to do things differently than I thought I was going to. Let me see. No, I didn't save it. All right. Well, I'll feature this story another time. But yeah, that's what I heard, that she is getting her ass kicked in jail. So at least that's something. All right, so let me go back to my playlist, and then right now I'll see what Sierra Brown says, because I care what you all say about things. All right, Sierra says, get her. Still listening. I will get her. I'm probably going to do a whole profile. So what I was going to try to do is like try to stay up to date with the stories that I'm featuring, but what I had planned was to make the playlist first and then show it, and then while I show it, make notes of who I wanted to follow. But I think what I'm going to do from here on out is while I'm making the playlist, I'll write the people's names down so I can be a little more organized in the future. What's scary about the Pearl Fernandez situation is that I want to say, from what I've seen, the California laws are very lenient on criminals, and they are trying to find ways to, not empty their prisons, but make room, I guess. So, and then when they said that she was trying to take advantage of the new laws, it's just that just sends like a shiver down my spine. It's just that somebody so heinous and unforgivable can just move on. She moved on a long time ago. I want to say she moved on the day he passed away. She was ready to move on, and I think she's just trying to get out of jail. She's getting her ass kicked allegedly, and she's trying to find a way out. That story honestly reminds me of another story that I heard about a while back. A friend of mine told me about it. I think I want to say the baby's name is Brianna. Hold on, just give me 1 second because I don't want to give misinformation. But there was a little baby, Brianna Lopez, and I want to say she was from like Arizona, New Mexico, and she was a baby. She was, let me see if I can find out. 1 second. Some of you might have heard about this because this was literally, I think, one of the most heinous like cases of child abuse that the country has ever seen. She was abused in the wrong way, if you know what I mean. And she was a tiny little baby, and they would throw her up and she would hit the ceiling and they would just let her fall back down. They were abusing her all kinds of ways. And the mom that was involved in the situation, which is a lot similar to the Gabriel Fernandez story, and that's that she was there, but she didn't know what was going on, is her story. She's already out. I don't even know how long like she was in jail, and she's been out, I want to say at least 2-3 years, like with it Among Us, and people don't even know like what she did. Probably she's hoping that nobody ever identifies like her for who she is. And that's scary to hear that story, and then to hear what Pearl is trying to do. And I just really hope she doesn't get out, and if she does, I hope by then the whole country knows who she is and she doesn't get to live anything close to a reasonable, peaceful life, because she doesn't deserve it, in my opinion. So the next case that we're going to look at is a cold case that had an arrest recently. This is about a college student. She was a college student in 1996, and she went missing. And I remember in 1996, I was like in high school, I want to say, I think I was a freshman that year. And people, like the adults in my life were like, oh, you know, you can't go out. Look what happened to that Kristen girl. And that's how I remember the story, because in where I was growing up, it was like a cautionary tale. This is what happens when you go out without, you know, telling your parents and that kind of thing. Her parents had nothing to do with it. But in my situation, I was in high school, you know. She was in college. She was away at college. She, I want to say, lived in a dorm, and she was out one night and she just went missing. There's been an arrest. This clip that I'm going to show you isn't about the arrest. I want to say this came out yesterday or today. Just give me 1 second. I'll tell you. Stop it. I'll tell you right now. This came out on the 21st, so this was 2 days ago. So let's watch it. It's called Kristen Smart's Body Buried Under House in California, and this is courtesy of KTVU Fox 2 San Francisco.
Good morning, on 2 at 5:45. Some new details about the disappearance 25 years ago of Cal Poly student Kristen Smart. Prosecutors say biological evidence shows Kristen Smart's body was buried under a deck at the home of the father of the suspect, Paul Flores, in San Luis Obispo County. And they believe her remains were moved recently and taken to a new location. Paul Flores and his father, Ruben Flores, pleaded not guilty to criminal charges. Paul Flores was the last person seen with Kristen Smart when she disappeared in 1996 after leaving a campus party.
So if they decide to plead not guilty and they go to court, we'll be there to see what happens, because the story, I've known about it since it happened, and that was a really long time ago. So it's actually good to see that the investigation is turning up something. And in fact, I want to say that the reason they looked at it again was because, like, a true crime podcaster decided to visit the story, and they went talking to people in the situation. And he started noticing some coincidences and some inconsistencies, I want to say, in the story. And he was the one who brought it to the police to look at it again. And they did look at it again. And now we have an arrest, and her body has been recovered. So you just never know what could happen. Anything can happen nowadays. Let's continue looking at this playlist. And the next video is called Man Sues Police for $3 million in Wrongful Arrest Lawsuit. And this is courtesy of Inside Edition. And I saw the body cam for this, and I know what thoughts I had. And I knew this was going to lead to something, because it was just so wrong how this happened. And I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with me. So let's watch.
I'm Nick Nimmin, and I'm a StreamYard user. If you're considering live.
How does someone who's just taking out the trash end up in handcuffs? Police were looking for a suspect, but they had the wrong man. Now, the LAPD didn't want this video released, but as Jim Murray reports, a judge disagreed.
Lights and sirens are blaring as cops respond to a 911 domestic violence call. They're still 3 blocks away from the location when they notice a man taking out the trash. They make a U-turn. Bear in mind, they had no idea what the suspect looked like.
This dude, probably.
They order him to turn around.
Did you hear that? So they were looking for a suspect. Okay, somebody call 911 because something happened. I'm not too sure what they said just now. But they went looking through the neighborhood and saw this man taking out the garbage, because in their minds, after you've committed a crime, the logical thing to do is take out the garbage, right? So they saw him and made their own conclusions from what their own prejudices and whatever, and we're like, hey, is that him? And then the dude said, probably. Well, why did you think that? Because people are that casual after they've committed a crime? It just didn't make sense at all. And I'm really glad to hear that a lawsuit has taken place in this situation. Let's keep watching.
For me? What? Turn around. What? Turn around. Why? Turn around because I told you to. Turn around. What are you doing, bro? I live here.
The situation escalates.
All right, we got a call. Okay, man. I don't know who I'm looking for yet. Come on, turn around, man. What is your problem, dude?
Antone Austin, a music producer, starts screaming for his girlfriend. She comes out in her bathrobe. She's just taken a shower, and she can't believe what she's seeing. Now another woman comes upon the scene. She's the woman who called 911, and she's telling police Austin is not the guy they're looking for.
So now the woman who called 911 because she was in danger about something comes out, and she's even telling them that's not him. So far, all the quote-unquote suspect has done is taken out the trash.
Both Austin and his girlfriend were taken into custody. The charge, resisting arrest. They spoke to Inside Edition.
Okay, so Emmanuel said, my homegirl's boyfriend got arrested like that, taking out the trash, but he had warrants though. So yeah, see, and that would be different because, okay, maybe since they had warrants, they knew who they were looking for. Maybe they had a picture of him, they knew who they're looking for. But this man didn't have anything on him. All he did was take out the trash. This is crazy. And you're right, Nicolette, they need to be held accountable, not just sued, because that money is coming probably out of like the police or the city. The individuals need to be held personally responsible for that situation because it should have never happened.
Really awakens you up. It lets you know, like, these are the guys that are running around with badges and guns, and these are the guys that you're supposed to be trusting to uphold the law when they're pretty much making up the rules as they go.
The disturbing scene happened right here on this residential street in Hollywood 2 years ago, but the body camera footage has just been released. That's how long Antone Austin says he's been fighting to see the video.
Turn around.
The LAPD did not.
And that's how long the police department has been fighting to not show it.
Not want the tape released, saying it would have a, quote, chilling effect on future investigations.
The idea of protecting and serving is kind of like second to them imposing their authority or imposing their rule.
They saw the first black person standing there, first black male, and they arrested him. That's textbook racial profiling. That's exactly what they did.
Mr. Austin is suing the LAPD for $3 million.
Exactly. So yeah, you're right. There needs to be more done. I was just looking at the situation from his perspective that, you know, at least, not to minimize it, you know, he got something, but you're right. Like, the individuals that arrested him and caused that scandal need to be, how do I say it? They need to be held accountable for what they did, because that's completely unacceptable and wrong. The next clip that we're going to look at is also having to do with like police brutality. It's called New Indictments Against Muncie Police Officers, and this is going to be courtesy of WRTV Indianapolis.
Federal prosecutors announced today new charges against a total of 4 Muncie police officers in cases that go back to 2018. The new indictment comes 2 weeks after a report from WRTV Investigates on how the Muncie Police Department has handled allegations of police brutality. Some of those new charges stem from an incident involving this man, Manny Montero. Montero says he was physically assaulted by Muncie police officers in May of 2018, which resulted in facial fractures and other injuries. Montero filed.
Okay, Nicolette, thank you so much for being here. I think Crown Empress said that she'll be going live later, so I hopefully will see you there.
An excessive force lawsuit against the city and named multiple officers, including Chase Winkle, Jeremy Gibson, Corey Posey, and Sergeant Joseph Kreja. Now, the new indictment includes what happened to Manny Montero and accuses Winkle and Gibson of striking Montero in the head with their knees and falsifying their reports of the Montero incident.
I was scared. I thought I was going to die. We're out there going to kill me. Yeah. They said I've never been that scared before in my life, man.
Montero received a $250,000 settlement in his lawsuit against Muncie police, and he wants to see the charged officers go to prison. The 4th Muncie officer charged today, Corey Posey, is not charged in the Montero case, but Posey is accused of making false statements on use of force reports. Winkle and Gibson were already awaiting a federal trial in September for using excessive force while making arrests in 2018 and 2019, while Sergeant Kreja was accused of writing false police reports.
Okay, so let me just look at some of these messages. Let's see. Yes, current Empress is going live. Let's go ahead and bring up that banner. I know I got one. Yes. Okay. And let's see. Emmanuel Briggs says they just arrested a cop out here for 2 shootings he did in 2016. One of them fatal. Deputy Andrew Hall. I'm glad they reached back to hold him accountable. Absolutely. It's like I said. It's very important to look at these cases, separately and independently of each other, because they're not all bad cops. They're not all good cops either. They're not all good shootings. They're also not bad shootings, all of them. So it's very important that we look at each situation for what it is and try not to get sucked into the public outrage that the media keeps, trying to put on us, attempting to get us as riled up and not thinking clearly. That's what I think they try to do. So I try to just stop, put my emotions aside for a little bit, look at the case, study it as much as I can, and then come to my own conclusion about what I believe should happen. But it's really good to also hear other people's opinions, because sometimes I don't look at the situation as a big picture. So even then, I still don't think of things, and it's really good to have a community as yourselves to be here, and we can all have a discussion about the things that are happening in the world. I saw this video, I want to say last night. No, man, my days are all messed up. I keep saying last night and it was like 2 days ago. I don't know what's going on there, but this video made my heart race a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and put the viewer discretion advised, because it is distressful to watch a bit here. It's a viral video about an Uber attack, so we're about to watch it here. It's called Pinellas County Uber driver violently attacked by rider, and that's going to be courtesy of NBC2 News.
I am finally You're gonna die.
New video at 11 puts you in the front seat for an unreal attack on an Uber driver in Tampa this past weekend. The woman in the back went wild. She was trying to choke the guy, threatened to kill him. At one point, she lunged forward and bit out a chunk of his neck. Eventually, police arrived, some good Samaritans. They got her off him. She was arrested. According to her family, she doesn't remember a thing about the attack. And the driver says he has no clue why she snapped.
Yeah, I don't care. She doesn't remember. I mean, I don't know. I guess it could be she's an older woman. Maybe she has Alzheimer's, along with who knows what other kind of mental illness. I'm not here to diagnose. Obviously, I'm not a professional or an expert or anything like that. But I put myself in the shoes of the driver, and woman or not, older woman or not, if somebody's choking me and threatening my life, I'm grabbing things, and I'm going to be kicking and punching and scratching and possibly stabbing, because I don't want my space violated or invaded, and that was way too much. She was screaming, she was choking him, she was threatening to kill him. The people around weren't doing much, but I see him not like she had her hands around his neck, he had an opportunity to try to protect himself, and it looked like he was just allowing it. I don't know if that's because he has a thing with hitting women, maybe because she was an older woman, maybe he related her to somebody that he knew and empathized with her. Maybe everything was happening too fast and he couldn't react. But I see that video and I just see somebody that's not defending themselves, and that's just really sad. I hope he gets help, because that looked really traumatizing. I hope she gets help too, but also if she is going to be doing this, her family says that she's never done this before. I don't know if I believe that, but if that's going to be the case, then maybe she should have somebody in the family to go places with her if she can't get it under control. But if I see any updates about that situation, I'll let you know, if any. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with this playlist. I have maybe this says 10 videos left, so we're just about almost done. Emmanuel says, yeah, I would have knocked her ass out. Totally. I don't know. Maybe because I grew up watching wrestling and then boxing and MMA and stuff like that. I'm just greeting for an opportunity to legitimately knock someone out. I don't know. But he was way too like passive and scared for my opinion, I guess. So let's watch the next video. It's called Register. Oh yeah, this happened a few miles from where I live. I live in South Texas, and this is technically still South Texas. Texas is a really big state, so you can imagine the south of it being a pretty big area too. This happened, I want to say, in Corpus Christi. It's called Registered Sex Offender Found Living in Southside Gym Charged with Voyeurism, and this is courtesy of KRIS 6 News.
A man has been arrested after it was discovered he had broken into a local gym and had been hiding within the ceiling above the women's restroom. Our Javier Guerra is live outside of Freedom Fitness off of SPID and has more. And Javier, it's my understanding that we've learned that the man is actually a registered sex offender.
Jeff, yeah, according to a police report by CCPD, they do say that Thomas Garcia is a registered sex offender with them. Now, he did break into this SPID Freedom Fitness that you see behind me. Now, according to the police report, it states that Garcia kicked an air duct open and then made his way across the rafters above the women's restroom. Now, the officers heard Garcia in the ceiling. They checked the tiles above the women's changing room, but they seemed to be in place at first. And then they found a ladder and rechecked where they found the ceiling tiles above the dressing room had been shifted and allowed about a 1-inch view of the room. Police told him to come down, but he refused, saying he was homeless and had nowhere to go. He eventually came down and was arrested. Now, Garcia was charged with burglary of a building, criminal mischief, and voyeurism. The suspect's phone was placed into evidence for further investigation. Now, we did reach out to Freedom Fitness corporate office, and this is what they had to tell us. We just got an email a couple of minutes ago, and this is what they tell us. They tell us on Monday, April the 19th, members of our staff discovered a homeless man illegally living in the ceiling of our SPID location. This man had broken into the facility without our knowledge, and authorities were immediately notified. Now, we are continuing to update you as more information is made available. You can count on us to keep.
Yeah, that's disgusting. The cops didn't care if he was homeless. He's like, no, I'm not going to get down. I'm homeless. They're not going to just let you live there. That's freaking crazy. I'm glad they caught him. Now he does have somewhere to live. Let's see if he stays there, because I have a feeling as soon as he comes out, he's going to find himself in the same situation as before. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next video, and it's called Fort Belvoir Soldiers Harassed at Virginia IHOP Restaurant Video Shows. And it's going to be courtesy of Fox 5, Washington, D.C. And when I saw this video, it made my heart race a little bit, but the way it ended just made me feel a lot better, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second.
Tonight, local soldiers say they were the target of racist harassment when they were out to lunch near their post at Fort Belvoir. It happened Monday, and one of the soldiers posted some of the episode to TikTok. Evan Lambert's been talking with Army officials. He's standing by live in Lorton tonight. What's the story here, Evan?
Well, this is not too far from the base, this IHOP, and the soldiers say that a woman came up to them and said she was actually going to pay for their lunch. She put cash on the table, and then just moments later came and took some of it back and accused them of stealing. This was first reported by the Army Times. Take a look at the video.
Just so you know, I came back in to give her the rest of the cash from my wallet because you went home this.
Ma'am, please walk away. Please. No. Ma'am, can you please leave?
Because.
So she puts money down on the table, tells the soldiers that she's paying for their meal. She walks away, comes back, takes some of her money back, and then accuses the soldiers of stealing from her. Then they tell her to just walk away. They don't want any trouble. And then she sits down next to them to further intimidate and harass them. Let's continue watching.
Can you just please leave? We're leaving. Can you excuse? I'm trying to get out. You need to find another place to be.
It is not clear who this woman is, but she appears to be white. The soldiers are black. The woman sits down and appears to block some of the soldiers from getting up.
So now here we have someone that's confronting her, separate from the party she's harassing, and she's getting in their face too.
They were trying to leave at this point. Another man intervenes, telling the woman to leave the soldiers alone, and she threatens to fight him. And then
She threatened to fight him. These two, they're going to go at it now. And meanwhile, the soldiers, very sly, went ahead and left the situation. They kept it classy the entire time, in my opinion, and I applaud them for that.
then goes off on a tangent as she's escorted out, yelling nonsense about Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Listen.
Are you BLM? Antifa?
In a statement, a spokesman for Fort Belvoir applauded the soldiers, saying, quote, "A view of the video will show the soldiers maintain their composure and military bearing throughout this shocking incident. They are well trained and disciplined." And it does not appear that anyone called the police here on that woman. One of those soldiers posted in a later TikTok that he forgives her and wants to move on.
Exactly. And this, where were the women? I have no idea, Sierra. It looked like it was a bunch of men versus her. I mean, the cops weren't called. I don't know what they could have done. There usually don't seem to be any help in these situations. Usually they come in just wanting to arrest somebody, and if they can't arrest anybody, they just get frustrated and pick fights with people, it seems like, until they can arrest somebody. So, you know, unfortunately, she's not going to be held accountable for her actions. The best thing we can do is just show the world who she is and what she does when she's out in public. If this is a case of mental illness, I hope she gets help, but I doubt it. I have a feeling this is just a case of ignorance and just, you know, having lack of patience. The whole thing about BLM and Antifa, the thing is, what does that have to do with anything? There were soldiers having a meal, and they happened to be melanated, and she said the N-word. So I would have pushed her. I mean, if you were a man, and if you were a soldier, they probably don't want to risk their careers, because if they push her in their situation, if it were me or you, yeah, I mean, we could push her. Hopefully she doesn't crack her head, because then they'll blame that on us too. See what I mean? Like, there's just no winning. They handled it the best that they could, considering what they're dealing with. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they would have been like punished or something if they would have pushed her, because that's still like abuse, since they're men and she's a woman. And that's where she got her privilege from. She thought that she could treat them however she wanted to, and she would just impose her ignorant views on people that have nothing to do with anything. And I'll continue showing, you know, videos like that, because that's completely crazy. Sarah says, no, me as a woman, I applaud those men. Absolutely, I agree. Me too. I'm right with you there. I have a few more stories. This says that we have 8 more to go. The next story is called Family of Man Killed in Roseland, Hit and Run While Working, Beg for Driver to Come forward. And this is going to be courtesy of ABC 7 Chicago. So here's another situation where we, you know, if you're from the area, be on the lookout, you know, for any information that could lead to an arrest in this situation, because this man needs justice.
At Go-Go Squeeze, we know life can be
All right, 1 second. I have an ad here. Just give me 1 moment for it to play. Well, not only does he need justice, but his family and his friends do too. I'm sure they have a lot of questions and are very distraught about what's happening. But let's go ahead and watch the clip.
As he crossed the street on the city's far south side. It happened last Thursday afternoon in the 200 block of West 114th Street in the city's Roseland neighborhood. Bailey's aunt tells me that this tragedy is a double blow to their family.
Nicholas Bailey was a calming presence in his family, a tall man who did not seek the limelight.
Very quiet soul, very introspective. You know, he didn't have a lot of words, but when he was ready to talk, he would talk.
Bailey's aunt says the 30-year-old was drawn to the outdoors and for the past several years worked as a land surveyor while living at home with his parents.
And he says, Auntie, I enjoy working outside. I love that. I want to do this.
Bailey was on the job last Thursday, surveying land at 114th and Wentworth in Roseland when he was struck by a hit-and-run driver. A co-worker who was with Bailey barely escaped being hit. Bailey was taken to Christ Hospital, where he died from extensive injuries. His death devastating a tight-knit family that was already grieving the loss of Bailey's father, who died of leukemia just 6 weeks earlier. Reasonover says her sister is struggling after the loss of her husband and son.
We're watching her, definitely making sure she's surrounded by everyone.
Reasonover says she's also struggling with anger.
You took him from us. He was our light. He was our everything.
And she's focusing on bringing the hit-and-run driver to justice. She's gone to the scene, looking for clues and talking to people in the neighborhood.
I'm not a police detective. I'm not trying to be. I just want closure. We know he's not coming back. We know that.
Investigators say the vehicle involved in this incident is a dark-colored minivan, and they are asking anyone with information about this to call police.
Unfortunately, they don't have more information than a dark-colored minivan, but I really hope somebody, knows something and says something, because that's really messed up. I don't know him obviously, but he just seemed like a cool person. And, when they said that he wasn't looking for the limelight, that says to me that he was also a shy person, and his family needs justice, because that's really messed up. I used to walk to work. I walked to work for like 10 years. I worked there for like 13, but for like almost 10, 11 of them, I walked to work. And I had some close calls too. And this isn't a big city. You know what I mean? It just happens that people are distracted. They don't care. I'm not too sure. But I really hope they find who did this to him and that the family gets peace soon. Let's continue on to the next video in our playlist. It's called Smart Family Civil Attorney Alleges Ruben Flores Moved Kristen Smart's Remains After 2020 Searches. And this is going to go back to the video that we saw earlier about Kristen Smart. She was a college student that went missing in 1996, and recently there's been some arrests and her body has been located. This is going to be courtesy of KSBY News.
Ruben Flores now faces a lawsuit filed by the Smart family civil attorney. KSBY's Megan Healy spoke with attorney James Murphy to find out why now and what he alleges in the lawsuit.
Civil attorney James Murphy is suing Ruben Flores for emotional damages in connection to the 1996 disappearance of Cal Poly student Kristen Smart. Now, in that lawsuit, Murphy alleges that Ruben and Susan Flores moved Kristen's remains from Ruben's property in Arroyo Grande and scattered her remains in the Wasna area just days after the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Department served search warrants in February 2020. Less than 24 hours after posting bail, Ruben Flores is hit with a lawsuit filed Thursday morning on behalf of the Smart family. Civil attorney James Murphy filed an intentional infliction of emotional distress lawsuit, saying there is compelling evidence Ruben and Susan Flores and Susan's boyfriend, quote, worked through the night under the cover of darkness to remove the remains of Kristen Smart to avoid having those remains at 710 White Court in the event of an additional search of the property.
And we have information that the contents of that grave site was then offloaded in some manner to another location.
He alleges that Kristen's remains were removed from Ruben's property and scattered in the Wasna area after the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office served search warrants at the Flores' home on February 5th, 2020.
The civil lawsuit is based upon the fact that biological materials were found in the ground in a hole adjacent to the wall of Ruben Flores' house and under his deck.
Murphy plans to go after Ruben's assets. It's unclear what they are and how much they are worth.
If he has transferred those assets fraudulently, which we have information that he may have done that with Susan, then we're going to come after Susan's assets.
Taking the deposition.
In 1997, Murphy filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Paul Flores. Over the years, judges have allowed that lawsuit to move forward. If Paul is convicted of murder, Murphy will then ask a judge to lift the stay on the wrongful death lawsuit and move forward with the civil case.
We can wait until the convictions, if they are convicted, and then we can use those convictions to prove up our case.
In Arroyo Grande, I'm Megan Healy, KSBY News.
The next step is to serve the lawsuit. Ruben will then have 30 days to respond, and discovery in the civil case will begin. It is likely The civil cases will move forward after the criminal cases come to a close.
I bet it's gonna play anyways. Oh wow, it didn't. So we're talking about 25 years of freedom, and they're just getting to finding out what's going on. That's crazy. Let me go ahead and delete that before I play it again. Sarah Brown says, I'm about to get off of listening. Okay, thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not too sure if we'll see each other later tonight, but I'll try to come back tomorrow. Let's go ahead and look at the next video. It's called Soldier Accused of Beating Kids While on LSD Takes Plea. How nice, right? His this is going to be courtesy of KTSM 9 News. Let's take a look.
Now to an update, this former Fort soldier will spend 8 years in prison for beating his children while high on LSD. Zachary Frampton accepted a plea deal and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. The incident happened in 2019 at a home in Far East El Paso. Documents show that Frampton consumed LSD with 2 other people and then became violent. Frampton then beat his 2 children, a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. The older child suffered serious injuries and required intubation. This Las Cruces man.
All right, let me grab his name real quick because I have questions. I want to know why he was even offered a plea deal. What did he like give in return for that? Because it sounds like a pretty open and shut case to me. His name is Zachary Frampton. 1 second. Zachary Frampton. And I'm going to put LSD beating kids. Yep, that's what you're known for, dude. All right, let's see here. It says Zachary Frampton, 26, is accused of repeatedly punching his 7-year-old son in the face and throwing him against a kitchen island and hitting his 3-year-old boy and throwing him from room to room. This is somebody we're making deals with over here. Let's go to this article. Let me go ahead and stop this and share what I'm looking at so that way we could all look at it together. Give me 1 second. Which one are you? Oh, update and share. So here we are. Court documents. Fort Bliss soldier beat children while high on LSD in El Paso. Give me 1 second. Let me try to get an update or find out more information. A lot of this is repeated information. A complaint affidavit said Frampton attacked his 2 young boys after consuming LSD with 2 other men at the residence. Detectives spoke to one of the witnesses who confirmed they had all consumed LSD. However, he mentioned Frampton had begun consuming the drug before their arrival. The witness mentioned Frampton put on white gloves and attached party lights to the ends of his fingers in order to increase his reaction of the drug. But Frampton then began yelling and getting agitated, causing a fight with the other 2 men in the house. Frampton then proceeded to beat his children, and when officers arrived at the scene, they found a 3-year-old boy with injuries to his head and a 7-year-old boy with substantial injuries to his face and body, the affidavit said. Detectives spoke to the 3-year-old boy who stated Frampton was naked and yelling bad words when the defendant hit him, the affidavit said. Officials say they were unable to speak to the 7-year-old victim as he was intubated in the hospital and being treated for bruising to his face, back, legs, and bleeding on the brain. According to the affidavit, the 7-year-old victim remains hospitalized 2 weeks after the attack with serious injuries, but it doesn't say anything about like why he was afforded a plea. Is it because he's in the military? There was, as far as I'm concerned, the children didn't pass away, so I don't think he gave information about where their bodies are or anything like that. Not too sure why we're giving child abusers deals and letting them sit in prison for only 8 when it should be a lot longer than that. That's just my opinion, but no one ever listens to me. Okay, so let's continue looking at these videos. The next one is called Washington County Deputy Searching for Missing 11-Year-Old. So here we have a missing child, and this is from channel 13 WMAZ. We'll play the video, and then after that, I'll check to see if there's any updates. Maybe she's been found.
Washington County deputies asking for your help finding a boy missing. According to a Facebook post from the sheriff's office, deputies are looking for 11-year-old Trayvonte Malone after they received a call saying he had not been seen since earlier today. The post says Malone was last seen on Greta Street in Tinnell. Malone was wearing a black jacket and carrying a black book bag. If you have any information, the sheriff's office asks that you call 911.
Okay, let me go ahead and try to find an update about Trayvonte Malone. It looks like as of 20 hours ago, they're still looking for him. He's been missing since earlier Thursday, and he still has not been seen. So unfortunately, they're still looking for him. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Let me minimize this. The next video we're gonna look at is called Hi Preach, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to hit the like for me. The next video is called Family Neighbors React After 4-year-old Dies Allegedly of the Hands of Mother and Mother's Boyfriend. And this is courtesy of WLWT.
This is the way little Nala Miller will always be remembered. A playful, happy 4-year-old. She loved Disney movies and her dog Cookie. But last Tuesday, Nala's life took a turn she wasn't able to recover from.
How long has she been like this?
It was just, I want to say 3 minutes ago now, 2 minutes ago. She was just fine, and then she passed out and woke back up and passed out again.
Police.
I always, every time I hear these 911 calls, not every time, but some of the time, I ask myself, like, is the person that's calling 911 the one that did the thing, you know, the crime or whatever? He says she was fine, and then she passed out, and then she woke up and she was fine, and then she passed out. Does that have the ring of truth? Like, do you hear the ring of the bell of the ring of whatever they call it? I mean, it sounds like a lie. I've heard lots of 911 calls where it was the suspect that was calling in, and a lot of the times they tell on themselves, just the way they word things. But let's continue watching this video.
Say Nala's mother, 25-year-old Tiana Robinson, punched her multiple times before strangling her inside this house on Hudapole Lane. Robinson's boyfriend, Rensley Washington, also in police custody. Nala's father, too shocked and shaken to speak on camera, did tell us this. She was the sweetest little girl. She was just loved so much. There isn't more you could ask for in a child. I'm just broken. This latest incident marking yet another child lost in our area in recent months. A 13-year-old stabbed to death earlier this week, and the bodies of 6-year-old James Hutchinson and 3-year-old Nilo Lattimore still nowhere to be found.
We need to lay these babies to rest. We know that their spirits are with God and God has them right now, but for peace and for closure and just for our families right now, we need this.
Meanwhile, neighbors in Springfield Township tell us the home has been a trouble spot before.
Police being called up there all the time.
After Nala was rushed to the hospital, doctors at Children saw signs of prolonged abuse and malnourishment. Now, Robinson is being charged with attempted murder, 2 counts of felonious assault, and child endangering. Washington is charged with 2 counts of obstructing justice. Reporting live tonight, Helena Battapaglia, WLWT News 5.
That's truly unfortunate. Like I said earlier, I stopped trying to log everybody's names down because I don't want to like take too much time doing that during live stream. I'll do that next time while I'm picking videos and creating a playlist to share with everybody. But we're gonna definitely be following that story. So as soon as I can, I'll write her name down and be looking for updates every chance I get because I want to know what's gonna happen in this situation. All right, so we're down to our last 3 videos. They're each, less than 5 minutes long. So we're going to call it a day here in a minute. If I don't see you all tonight, I will try to get some news clips together so we can have an opportunity to, hang out again and talk about the stuff that's happening in the world. Now, this next clip, I saw it last night, and it's about a substance called kratom. I've never heard of it, but apparently you can buy it at the store. And I did a little bit of research on it because, of course, the news clip doesn't say too much, but apparently some people buy it to help them with withdrawals of, I'm not too sure what. I want to say it was meth. But apparently this stuff, even though you can buy it over the counter, you can become addicted to it too. And if you stop using it, then you got to deal with those withdrawals. So let's hear about this. This is going to be called Kratom. Experts warn over-the-counter supplement can be dangerous, addictive. And this is courtesy of Fox 29 Philadelphia. After these ads, thank you.
Data for the CDC shows overdose deaths surged during the pandemic across the country, but one death in Chester County has a local detective concerned because it's linked to an herbal supplement that just about anybody can walk into a store and buy. Experts say it can be addictive, and when mixed with other drugs, it can be deadly. Our Kelly Rule reports.
I just miss him every day. Just
Mary Taylor says her 38-year-old son, Luke, seemed to have his life back on track after struggling with drug abuse. Home from rehab, engaged, and working a job he loved.
you always want to think the best of your kids, and you want to think that you're so close to them that they can tell you anything. They didn't tell me that night.
Mary found her son on the morning of September 6, 2020. West Whiteland Township Police handled the death investigation. Detective Scott Pizik says the coroner determined Luke died of multiple drug toxicity: fentanyl, cocaine, marijuana, and kratom.
I was blown away. I didn't know what kratom was.
Going to the drugstore and seeing kratom everywhere, I just picture a teenager walking in there and thinking, yeah, this stuff's really cool. Somebody at school told me about it. I want to try it. And that's the scary thing.
Kratom is an herbal supplement that you can legally buy and sell in the United States, sold in the form of powder, pills, and liquid. We found it right by the cashier in a convenience store in downtown Phoenixville. It's not considered a controlled substance by the FDA.
It sends a message that it's not that harmful, that it's, not a problem to use. They don't realize that it can cause physical dependence. And it can also cause withdrawal.
Dr. Peter Swanyoung is the chief of psychiatry with Malvern Health Incorporated. They provide programs and facilities for behavioral health treatment.
I did see some cases 5-6 years ago, and then it seems like this last year I've seen a few more cases again.
It's acting on the same brain chemistry.
At the Pennsylvania Recovery Center in Phoenixville, clinical program director Zachary Myers says they have seen an increase in teens getting access to supplements like kratom through websites, even the dark web.
A lot of this stuff, the information gets passed around very quickly, just in their age group. And unfortunately, they have access to some of these things online. What they're getting, they don't know necessarily what the dosage is, what the purity is, if they're mixed with other chemicals. So that could be, very dangerous.
And he's seen kratom lead to harder drug use, especially for those with a history or predisposition to abusing drugs or alcohol.
One day, I just impulsively bought it.
We were like, we'll do it once, and then it turned to an everyday thing.
Daniel Mikowski and Colin Dumoff say they used kratom while in recovery from hard drug abuse, and it didn't take long to go right back to their drug of choice.
It definitely led me back down a path that could have possibly killed me.
Playing with fire because you're still seeking it to get a feeling. And for me, what I didn't think it was that big of a deal until it ended up being that big of a deal. It's addictive, so people get addicted to it, start drinking a lot, and then you can feel sick when you don't have it.
It's just scary that some unknowing person, may start using this and maybe get abusing it, and again, lead to another death. One death is too many.
Both Malvern Health Incorporated and Pennsylvania Recovery Center in Chester County say they saw a huge jump in demand for services for drug and alcohol abuse and mental health over the pandemic. And preliminary data from the CDC shows a 29% increase in overdose deaths from October 2019 through September 2020 across the country. For Mary Taylor, she will never truly know if it was one drug or the combination that killed her son, but she knows this.
I just wish I would have sat down, really ask questions. Just reach out to your kids. Love them every day. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're proud of them.
In Chester County, Kelly Rule, Fox.
That's really sad. I'm really sad that she lost her son. I don't wish bad on anybody, but I thought it was important to find out what's being sold out there so that, you know, if you see something like this in the possession of someone that you know and love, you're, you know, aware and educated on what it is, because you can see it and ask, hey, what's that? And then somebody could be like, oh, it's natural. It's okay. I bought it at the store. And that's going to give you peace of mind until you do your research and find out that it's actually a substance that's being sold over the counter that causes addiction and can actually psychologically encourage a person to do other drugs, and that's dangerous, and something definitely needs to be said about it. So that's why I featured it on my channel. So I won't only just be covering like true crime and like missing people and things like that, but I also want to cover like health news, like anything having to do with nature news, anything that's going on in the world. If you know any stories that I haven't covered that you want to hear about, you can always hit me up like in the comment section or here in the chat. Just let me know what you're interested in, and I'll see what I can do about finding stories related to that. So we have 2 more clips to go, and we're almost done here. The next one is called Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach Mansion is Demolished. I thought we should see that happen. And this is going to be courtesy of Inside Edition.
The House of Shame is no more. The Palm Beach mansion that once belonged to convicted sex predator Jeffrey Epstein was demolished, reduced to mere rubble. Neighbors are relieved to see it gone.
Demolishing that house is very cleansing for Palm Beach because obviously some horrific things happened in there.
A police raid in 2005 gave the world its first look inside the 6-bedroom, 14,000 square foot estate where 13 underage girls said they were raped or molested by the disgraced tycoon. A pink carpeted staircase led to Epstein's private quarters.
There was an ever-revolving door of girls.
His notoriety led to the mansion becoming a target for vandals. After his suicide in 2019, the property was bought by a developer for $18.5 million. Plans started right away to level the house and build a new mansion in its place, leaving no remnants of its dark past.
Nah, I don't buy that it was 13 girls. I think it was way more than that. And I don't think that demolishing the house is going to clear it of its negative energy. I wouldn't even want to be anywhere near that place the way I am, because I feel like I'm really sensitive to energies and stuff like that. I know people here are also that way. But somebody bought it, now they're demolishing it, and they're gonna build another mansion, because that's what we need, is another mansion. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and watch the next video, and this is a clip of an episode of, like, I don't know if it's like 2020 or something like that. It does pretty much tell the whole story here in the following next 3 minutes. But once I find out what show it is, I'll tell you like where you can find it if you want to see like the whole thing, because this is just a clip that the news is providing for us. It's called When a Woman Tells Friends and Family Her Ex-Husband Was Killed by the Dog, They Become Suspicious. And that's going to be courtesy of CBS This Morning. And then after that, we'll be done for today.
What motivates me to come to work every day is my black family. They're my second family, and it's always fun to work.
This week's 48 Hours investigates the death of an Indiana man and the strange explanation that investigators had never heard before. Danny Green told friends and family that her ex-husband, Ray, was killed by the family's German Shepherd. But when police visited their home, they found no signs of him or their dog. 48 Hours correspondent Peter Van Sant looks into Ray Green's death.
In May 2014, police were called to this remote property in Dillsboro, Indiana, the home of Ray and Danny Green. Danny told family and friends that Jazzy, the couple's pet, had attacked Ray.
Danny said that her dog killed Ray.
The strange story didn't sit right with friend Karen Auclair or Tracy Abbott.
Animals like him. How can a dog kill him?
Tracy, Ray's daughter from another marriage, says he had a special way with all kinds of animals.
My dad was a real cowboy.
Ray was a renowned horse breeder and trainer. A powerful man, he once trapped a 12-foot alligator with his bare hands. Danny was experienced in handling horses as well.
She had goals of becoming an Olympic equestrian.
When police arrived, neither Ray nor Jazzy could be seen. Prosecutor Aaron Negengard says Danny then gave an entirely different story, saying Ray, who sometimes worked as a truck driver, was out on the road.
The problem with that, there was a big truck in the property. The officers were suspicious that something was up. So the officers pinged his phone, and his phone came back to that piece of property.
Detective Tom Baxter says Danny told police they could look for Ray anywhere they wished, with one exception.
She said, you can search anywhere you want except for that box.
That is a heck of a tease. Peter Van Zandt joins us now. Good morning. So what was in that box?
Well, sadly, the body of cowboy Ray Green was inside that box. He had been shot 10 times, which obviously is something a dog could not do. Investigators believed his body had been in that box for about 2 days.
What happened to the family dog?
Jazzy, the German Shepherd, which, by the way, was a mild, loving dog, was never found. And to this day, investigators have no idea what happened to Jazzy.
Wow, Peter, that is surely a story a lot of folks are going to want to see.
Well, I feel sorry for Mr. Ray Green. This story kind of reminded me of something that, like, the Ozarks would come up with. They reminded me of that older couple. If you watch it, I forgot their names. I'm not even trying to think about it right now. But yeah, that's going to be an episode of 48 Hours. That's going to premiere on Saturday if you want to watch it. I like true crime. I'll try to remember to catch it. I'm not too sure at this point if Crown Empress is going to go live tonight. If she does, I'll see you there. I'm going to go ahead and start making a new playlist for us to watch. So I'll probably, if I don't see you tonight, I'll try to catch you guys during the weekend sometime. So I just want to go ahead and take the time and thank everybody for being here. Emmanuel Briggs, Tammy Lynn, thank you so much for being here. No Nonsense Stucky, I hope you have a great day today. Preach. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you have a good weekend. Sarah Brown, I'll see you soon. See Grandma 5, thank you so much for stopping by. I want to say I said thank you to Emmanuel Briggs. If not, thank you, Emmanuel Briggs. Crown Empress, always. Much love. Danielle Williams, thank you so much for being here. Nicolette Moore. Let's see who else. I want to say, oh yeah, Raphael Flatplane, thank you so much for stopping by earlier. I want to say Punisher J Gaming was here too. Thank you so much. Observing stuff. I'll see you around. Hope if I missed anybody, I didn't do it on purpose. This only lets me scroll up so far. So thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you all soon. Bye.